of owning AR-15s and if they are protected by the Second Amendment at some point. Right now, though, the issue is being considered in smaller courts, and that should help the high court's decision-making later. Other national stories KSL is following. Federal immigration authorities in Boston say that they have arrested about 1,500 undocumented immigrants all over the state in part of a widespread crackdown that they call Operation Patriot. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons says they are not stopping.
This operation proved that we need to be more. While this operation was going on, and the brave men and women from all these agencies were out conducting operations, more criminal aliens were being released into the community. We did this already once. We saw a large number in a week time, but that just showed we needed to come back, and we're going to keep coming back.
Authorities claim the majority of the immigrants have criminal records ranging from sex offenders to drug trafficking. Texas lawmakers are allowing local authorities to take deportation into their own hands.
Sheriff's deputies in larger Texas counties will be required to help federal authorities with immigration enforcement. Republican lawmakers like A.J. Louderback support the idea.
It saves lives and it puts criminals behind bars.
Democrat Ramon Romero Jr. fears unintended consequences.
Innocent people, including U.S. citizens like we see every day on social media, begin to pay the price.
State leaders have long complained that the federal government wasn't doing enough to halt illegal border crossings. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Time for First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. In Davis County, we have a crash eastbound Antelope Drive. It's as you're approaching the intersection where we have the Jack in the Box and the Speedway gas station prior to I-15. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:06.
The Utah RV Palooza is ready for another round of RV savings. But this time, we're hooking you up, South Salt Lake County. June 5th through the 7th, we're bringing our packed inventory of new and used RVs to you on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. Shop all the best RV brands fit for any budget and all at show pricing. You'll find payments starting under $139 per month on approved credit on select new RVs. And clearance pricing on all remaining new 2024s while they last. You'll also get 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Start shopping the best deals now at UtahRVPalooza.com. And it's the only show featuring the full lineup from Wayfinder RV, available exclusively through Bish's. Plus, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. All this plus free admission to the Utah RV Palooza, June 5th through the 7th on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. See you in Harriman.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 89922. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Deal number 822B426B.
Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen.
Thank you for joining us for Midday with Maria Shilaos. Recapping our top story this hour, the first man tied to the disappearance of a South Jordan teen is set to face a Utah judge this afternoon. Legal analysts say he could be facing some serious charges. KSL News Time 12:07. Plans for a bike path to connect the 300 West Bikeway to Pioneer Park are now 1 block short.
The city has been planning to extend the bikeway for a safe and comfortable road for commuters for months. But UDOT recently asked for the section between 300 South and 400 South to be removed from the project. No reason has officially been given for the change, but the change does come after a recent bill was passed allowing the state to have more control over Salt Lake City streets. The bikeway will still be built up to 400 South, and the city says they're working on new plans for the crossing. Construction will begin this month at 900 South. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
The Santa Clara Fire Department says they had 2 rescues in Snow Canyon State Park over the weekend. The first was for a hiker who ran out of water in the triple-digit temperatures. The second rescue took place at the lava tubes, where the team had to use ropes to life flight a victim up the cave system nearly 100 yards. Southern Utah officials have started issuing fire restrictions. Stage 1 restrictions are now in effect for Washington, Kane, and Garfield counties. That means no open fires or fireworks on lands managed by the state, BLM, or the National Park Service. With really hot, dry summer years, Utah's big game wildlife tends to change their habits a bit.
And we continue with this hot weather pattern. You're going to be more likely to see them early in the morning, late in the evening. And if it continues to stay dry, then animals will be more likely to be concentrated around water.
Big Game Program Coordinator for the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, Dax Mangus, says getting some water is more important than cool temperatures.
Animals were in pretty good condition coming out of this last winter, and so that's a positive thing. And if we can just continue to get at least some rain here and there, that's what we all kind of have our fingers crossed for.
He says we can expect to see more animals out at night and closer to water this summer. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
A new accident. It's in Davis County on I-15 southbound. It's after Roy, more in the Sunset area, but it does look like everybody is out of traffic and on the shoulder, so we're not going to see any delay. A crash also in Davis County, eastbound Antelope Drive at about 1100 East. This is the intersection just west of the I-15 freeway. Looks like the right lane is still blocked to traffic. Huge spike in your water bill? You might have a leak in your culinary or secondary water line. Utah Utility Pro repairs stop and waste and pressure release valves. Visit utahutilitypro.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be running 16 degrees cooler today with a high of 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. 55 in the overnight, clearing skies. 77 tomorrow, full-on sunshine. And then Wednesday, 79, mostly sunny. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Well, it didn't cool down quite as much as we thought it would, and that chance of showers kind of disappeared, didn't it? Right now, 76 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. If you're thinking this summer you'd really like to take off a few extra pounds, I want to tell you about a great way to do it, and that is with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. With this program, I've now lost more than 40 pounds, 25 pounds of that in the first 60 days. Many people lose up to a pound per day. And I'm telling you, that lack of frustration because you're losing the weight, it really motivates you to continue working at the program. I feel so much better. I no longer suffer from back spasms, and I just plain feel better about myself going into summer. Now, this is an all-natural program. There are no injections, surgery, or medications, and is not as expensive as other programs because there are no prepackaged meals or products to buy. And it's easy to stick with. They have a great app. Just go to slcfatloss.com to learn how you can save $200 now, or you can call them 450-1882 or slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
1847. Our home Utah takes shape. A century later, Utah's home champion is born. Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has earned the trust of over 250,000 Utah homeowners, with techs who rise above to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Championing the spirit of 47, Whipple is offering $47 off any home repair or service, including drain clearings. Act now and call Whipple Service Champions at 801-896-1947 for the win today.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit your Utah Hyundai dealers today.
KSL News Time 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Florida man accused of messaging the recently found missing South Jordan teen appears in a Utah courtroom today as questions remain about how she ended up in Colorado Springs. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, people living in a Salt Lake City apartment complex got a scary wake-up call when a small fire broke out in one of the units. Fire officials say there's a chance it was started by a lithium-ion scooter battery. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A small accident, but it's out of traffic southbound I-15 in the Sunset area near 2300 North. Look for that on your right shoulder. Salt Lake County freeways all clear. No accidents, no delays. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thunderstorms down to the south today, partly cloudy in the north. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, sunshine, 76 degrees downtown. Time for the KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Federal authorities in court papers have filed hate crime charges against the Boulder suspect, accused of using a makeshift flamethrower to attack participants at a rally this past weekend, supporting the release of Hamas-held hostages. Authorities say the suspect also yelled Free Palestine during that attack. Boulder police so far not calling it a terror attack. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Guerin.
I think the simplistic term, it's a hate crime. I'm not sure why the Boulder police are not calling it that, but this looks like a case that I'm going to guess the FBI will probably take the lead.
2 victims remain in critical condition. 6 others injured were treated and released. The White House blaming the former Biden administration's policies, saying the suspect overstayed his visa. In Boston, federal immigration authorities announcing the arrests of 1,500 undocumented immigrants across Massachusetts. ICE Director Todd Lyons says they included alleged sex offenders and drug traffickers.
This operation proved that we need to be more. While this operation was going on, and the brave men and women from all these agencies were out conducting operations, more criminal aliens were being released. And already once, we saw a large number in a week time, but that just showed we needed to come back. And we're going to keep coming back.
Uncertainty over tariffs after President Trump threatened to raise tariffs on European steel and aluminum imports next week, saying he could double the 25% current levies. ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House with more.
This operation proved that we need to be more. While this operation was going on, and the brave men and women from all the
It comes as the administration is trying to push trade negotiations with countries all around the world. The president's team saying he might even have a call this week with the Chinese president to try and talk about trade talks there. The president accusing China of reneging on their commitments. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. South Jordan police have confirmed the missing 15-year-old teen that was messaging multiple older men online before running away has now turned up. Utah Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force Training Coordinator Michelle Bush-Upwall joins me now live. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
Describe for me, or tell me, how can parents talk to their children about the dangers of talking to strangers online? How do they have this conversation?
You know, it starts a lot of ways. First things first, be approachable, parents. You know, be their safe place. Affirm them, reassure that your kids are there. You're there for them, and do whatever you can to make them feel seen and heard. Openly discuss online and in-person relationships they have. But you have to do that in a non-confrontational way. It just doesn't work if it's confrontational. And maybe ask to see who their friends are, who they're talking to. Scroll through their friends list, both who they follow and also who follows them. I think a lot of times parents forget about that. And ask curious questions. You know, talk about relationships, both in person and online. You know, what does trust mean to them? How do they build that trust? Ask them how they're using their various social media platforms, what information they share. And talking to them about what information they share is important, because then you can talk to them about how this could be used to manipulate them online. So, for example, if they just broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, somebody can try to offer them a relationship and be that person they're going to. This can lead to a conversation about privacy settings, which is really important.
How do we talk to them about strangers now? Because there are all these dating apps online. They don't know these people. How do we talk to them about that?
You know, just, again, having these really big open lines of communication is so important. And talking about grooming with strangers is important because, unfortunately, a lot of times when children are groomed, I mean, the main thing that these guys are out there to do is build that trust, have an emotional connection with our child. So talking to them about signs of grooming is important because that's what these strangers are going to do. And it's difficult to tell if a child is being groomed. The signs aren't always obvious; they can be hidden. But talking to them about the tactics these groomers have and how they go about it, because these are the strangers that are going to be able to gain that trust and be that person in their life that they depend on.
So, what would be some of those danger signs that they could look out for?
So some of the tactics that we've seen that many offenders, they use different approaches in order to exploit children online. Engaging in sexual conversation, role-playing as a groomed method rather than a goal. Asking the child for sexually explicit images of them or mutually sharing images. They develop a rapport through compliments. They discuss like shared interest, liking their online post. They send and offer sexually explicit images of themselves. Sometimes they'll pretend to be younger, not always the case. We know that. They do offer incentives like gift cards, alcohol, drugs, lodging, whatever it may be. They're going to offer these things. And a lot of times parents think that, the children in their life are unlikely to be in these situations, but unfortunately, those opportunities exist everywhere online. They also try and isolate their children from their family and friends. So they're wanting to make them feel dependent on them and give the groomer the power and control over them.
Michelle, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline with the Utah Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, that is Michelle Bush-Upwall. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky, what's happening on the roads?
We do have a small accident southbound I-15 going from Weber into Davis County. It's in the Sunset area, and that's south of 5600 South Roy. But it's been out of traffic on the shoulder, so it hasn't caused any delays. We're also in the final cleanup of a crash in Layton, eastbound Antelope Drive. It's at the intersection just west of I-15, but it looks like a right lane is now open. It may be partially blocked, but just keep an eye out for crews at the scene. Ricky Mason, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. It is our first full week of June, and we're starting things off on the nice side. 80 degrees today for a daytime high, partly cloudy skies, but thunderstorms brewing down in southern Utah. 77, sunshine on Tuesday. Wednesday, 79, mostly sunny. Partly cloudy skies return to the forecast on Thursday, 83. We'll go mid-80s Saturday and Sunday with a mix of sun and clouds. 90 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, sunshine and 76 degrees. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets at this hour. Markets are mixed. The Dow is the one that's down, but it's making some improvements. A complete update of your money news is next.
Looking for reliable home services you can actually count on? I've got just the team for you. Mountain Home Services. They've been serving Utah since 1954 with honest, upfront pricing and zero hidden fees. Plus, they back every job with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. With summer heating up, now's the time to get your AC in shape. Mountain Home Services delivers fast, expert air conditioning service to keep your home cool and comfortable. And don't forget, they also handle electrical and plumbing work with the same trusted care. And here's the best part. KSL listeners get exclusive limited-time specials, but you have to call and ask. These deals won't last, so don't miss your chance to save. Call 801-543-2222 today and tell them KSL sent you. That's 801-543-2222 or visit mountainhomeservices.com. Get the service you need and the deal you deserve.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m., subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Register for Jazz Youth Camps and Clinics. Brought to you by PB Fit. Whether you're a beginner interested in learning basketball basics or an advanced player wanting to hone your skills and techniques, there's a camp for you. Let's go! All kids ages 4 to 17 are welcome. You'll get the chance to learn directly from Utah Jazz Camps and Clinics coaches and jazz personalities at select camps at various locations throughout Utah, even the Jazz practice facility. If you love the Jazz and the game of basketball, this is an opportunity you can't miss out on. Register for your spot now at jazzyouth.com.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Watching Utah's money, Elon Musk may be done with Doge, but people are done with Tesla. Sales fell 67% in the last year. Registrations are the lowest they have been since July of 2022. Costco shares are up this morning after the company reported a good year. Year-over-year sales were up 8%. CNBC says it could continue to do well this year by benefiting from tariffs. Panic buying could increase bulk buying. We are learning more about just how short the U.S. is on air traffic controllers. The FAA is estimating that the U.S. has about 3,000 controllers nationwide. Some of the most understaffed towers are in New York and Los Angeles. USA Today says Salt Lake City is short by about 10 controllers. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow now down by 62 points, sitting at 42,208. S&P 500 up by 13. The NASDAQ, the winner right now, up by 107 points. A toddler is doing okay after climbing onto a luggage conveyor belt. It happened at Newark Liberty International Airport last week, but it's not the first time the child has done it. ABC's Gio Benitez mentions another incident that happened in 2019 in Atlanta.
The 2-year-old going through the conveyor system, climbing over bags, passing inside an x-ray machine, and finally down a ramp into a large baggage screening room where TSA agents found him and called for help. He suffered cuts to his arm and a fractured hand.
Officers found the latest toddler in the checked baggage room on the lower level.
The kind of inside scoop you only get from KSL. Editor of Utah Policy, Holly Richardson, a.k.a. Holly on the Hill, and KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Greg and Holly make up the new Inside Sources, 9 to noon, starting next Monday on KSL News Radio.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
We were living in a townhome, renting at the time. We were ready to own our own house. Once we found a realtor, a world of possibilities opened up to us. We found a house that we really wanted, but we thought at first that it might be out of our price range, that we couldn't afford it. Our realtor was able to introduce us to state programs that help first-time home buyers, such as a state grant and state help to lower the interest rate. In the end, she made it possible so that we could buy a home.
Let an experienced realtor guide you. Go to myrealtorstory.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here's Ricky Meese.
A crash, and this is southbound I-15 after 5600 South and Roy. It's in the Sunset area, but already out of traffic on the right shoulder. We haven't seen any backups on the freeway from the accident. But the one that has been blocking traffic is the other crash in Davis County, eastbound Antelope Drive prior to the I-15 junction. That right lane is still blocked to traffic, so if you're approaching that intersection before the 7-Eleven, be careful and scoot over into the left lane. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, and excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be coming down quite a bit from yesterday's 96. How about a high of 80 degrees today, partly cloudy skies, and a slight chance for a pop-up shower in Utah County. 55 overnight, clearing skies, 77 tomorrow, and sunshine. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunshine, 76 degrees downtown. And this week's movie show is brought to you by My Hearing Centers. Schedule a hearing evaluation and be entered to win a set of premium hearing aids by tuning in Friday from 10 to 1.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time 12:30. If you are planning a trip to one of our national parks in the next few days, be aware that you could run into flash flooding.
The ingredients are there. There's an abundance of moisture.
National Weather Service meteorologist John Wilson tells me flash flooding will be possible today in all our national parks, but the risk will be higher in areas like Zion National Park, Snow Canyon State Park, and Grand Staircase Escalante. And forecasters say if you're planning to hit a slot canyon, you might want to reconsider depending on the forecast.
It only takes around 6 inches of flowing water to take you off your feet. And so these slot canyons can fill up much higher than that.
And it's important to know these slot canyons tend to fill up from water that falls somewhere else, then runs into them. So while it might not be raining where you are, you could still be in the path of a flash flood.
Just know the weather forecast prior to going out into these areas.
Wilson says it'll still be possible to see flash floods tomorrow and Wednesday, but the risk should go down from there. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Those warnings come as temperatures cool down across the state. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson has more.
How about some cooler weather today, folks? 16 degrees cooler than yesterday. We hit 96. That broke a record of 94 back in 2020. Today we cool off to 80 degrees, significantly cooler. Down in southern Utah, we're looking at thunderstorms down mainly south of I-70. We'll keep those thunderstorms in play on Wednesday, but Tuesday looks dry.
Matt says today there is a slight chance for a pop-up shower in northern Utah, but most of the rain will stick to central and southern Utah. Drivers in Saratoga Springs will want to plan more time for the commute due to some work on Utah County's Mountain View Corridor project. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly explains why.
Starting today, the right lane of Mountain View will be closed every day heading northeast from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. between Providence Drive and Redwood Road. UDOT spokesman for Region 3, Wyatt Woolley, says the daily closures will be ongoing for the next 4 weeks to install walls for a new pedestrian bridge.
We want to make sure that we move people, not just cars and trucks.
UDOT's Facebook page has a link showing the entire scope of the Mountain View Corridor project, which includes turning 2100 North into a freeway. Officials state this could be complete by spring of 2026. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
Salt Lake City police are investigating after a motorcyclist was hit and killed in a hit-and-run crash overnight. It happened around 2100 South and 4th East. Police say the suspect ran a stop sign and hit the motorcycle before driving off. This story is developing. We will provide more details as we get them. People living in a Salt Lake City apartment complex got a scary wake-up call when a small fire broke out in one of the units. Captain Chad Jefferson says crews acted quickly.
Crews were able to make a quick knockdown on that fire. They had easy access via window and were able to knock the fire down fairly rapidly and save the majority of the structure and the contents inside of the building.
They are not sure what caused the fire, but they think it could have been from a lithium-ion scooter battery. Crews are still investigating. KSL's top national stories. The Trump administration says they are prepared to fight all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to enact some of the proposed tariffs.
The president announced he's now doubling tariffs on imported steel and aluminum, raising them from 25% to 50%. This is starting on Wednesday. The European Commission blasting this move, saying that it only adds to the uncertainty, that it undermines ongoing negotiations, and that they're prepared to respond with countermeasures. And it comes as these tariffs continue to be challenged in court.
ABC's Rachel Scott reports many of the tariffs imposed by the White House have been blocked by judges. Other national stories KSL is following. 8 people in Colorado are recovering after police say a man attacked a group of people gathering to show their support for freeing the hostages in Gaza. Police say the suspect used a makeshift flamethrower into the crowd, and that the suspect allegedly yelled "Free Palestine" during the attack. Boulder police have stopped short of calling the attack terrorism, but the FBI has characterized it as such.
President Trump responding to the attack in Boulder, Colorado, the day after it happened, writing in a social media post that it will not be tolerated. The Department of Homeland Security said Monday the man suspected of carrying out the attack during a pro-Israel demonstration is in the U.S. illegally. His B-2 visa, typically a tourism visa, expired in February 2023. President Trump writes in his post, quote, "This is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland." Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson posting on X saying the violent attack on peaceful demonstrators is a shocking and painful reminder that hate and prejudice persist in our society, adding that Utah stands in solidarity with the victims and the entire Boulder community. Senator Mike Lee also took to X, asking people to join him in paying for the people hurt by the attack, and that Jewish Americans and all who stand for the hostages should not have to march in fear. First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky?
We do have a new crash. It's already in the cleanup stages. 7th East, south of 2100 South, about 2400 South, and Salt Lake City PD is at the scene. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
This show's going to be different.
The new Inside Sources.
We have the desire to help you understand the issues that are impacting you on your family level.
Hi, I'm Holly Richardson.
My name is Greg Skortis.
Join Inside Sources starting next Monday, 9 to noon
on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part 1 in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Pantheon Clinical Research is conducting a clinical study for children and teens. Is your child struggling with bipolar depression? If your child is between 10 and 17 years old and experiencing symptoms of depression associated with bipolar disorder, such as persistent sadness, loss of interest in activities, trouble sleeping, low energy, difficulty concentrating, or even suicidal thoughts, Pantheon Clinical Research may be able to help. We are ready to take your call anytime. Call our phone lines at Pantheon Clinical Research at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. We're conducting a no-cost clinical study for children and teens facing bipolar depression. Participants will receive study-related care, medical tests, and investigational treatment from a dedicated medical team, all at no cost and with no health insurance required. Call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or visit our website at pantheonclinical.com to learn more. Hope starts here.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Thank you for joining us for Midday with Maria Shilaos. Recapping our top story this hour, there's a risk of flash flooding across much of the southern half of the state today, including in all of our national parks. KSL News Time, 1238. The Utah Democratic Party elected its new leader this weekend. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Brian King will lead as the party chair. The former candidate for governor and current legislator took the top spot with thin margins, beating out the previous director of the Salt Lake County Democratic Party, Ben Peck, with just 52% of the votes. King says he is ready to lead the party, and Utah Democrats are energized, motivated, and ready to fight for the values they share. Other positions were voted on as well. Susan Merrill will serve as the vice chair, with Brad Dichter as the secretary and Catherine Boutte as the treasurer. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Two recent audits of the Salt Lake City School District found problems with the busing system for students. District spokesperson Yandri Chatwin says the problems were pronounced for families with lots of children.
If you have a middle schooler, a high schooler, and an elementary student who all have to take 3 different buses, that becomes a challenge if all those buses are leaving at completely different times.
In the fall, the district will reduce the number of bell schedules to 2 at either 8 or 8:45. Now, the previous schedules created challenges with field trips and early out days. The U is starting a new textbook program, which will cut the average cost of books in half each semester, around $600 every year. Danny Rosas Salas says that this new program would save him lots of time and money in the long run.
I think I did pay a lot, with my personal experience, there are some semesters, that I have to take like 5 courses, right? And that can spend a lot if like each textbook costs like $80, right?
Day One Book Access program is meant for undergraduates and will include an option to opt out if their classes don't require textbooks. Across Utah, 88.8% of students graduated some school, coming close to 100%. State Board of Education Director of Data, Aaron Bruff, tells KSL-TV, this is good for everyone.
It makes people want to live in that community. You're going to have more move-ins. You're going to bring in more investments. People start looking at it saying, here's an opportunity.
In Beaver, leaders track students and work to make sure that they had everything that they needed. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Well, crews are wrapping up a crash. It's almost completely cleared at 7th East at about 2400 South. So we are looking at a good drive in the Sugar House and Salt Lake City area on those side streets. All of your Salt Lake County freeways are seeing a good drive. No delays on I-15 despite an accident southbound in the Sunset area. It has been out of traffic over to the right shoulder the entire time. Hasn't caused any kind of problem. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Not a bad way to start June, folks. Partly cloudy skies today with 80s for daytime highs. 77 tomorrow, sunshine, mostly sunny, and 79 on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunshine and 76 degrees downtown.
Spring cleaning season is wrapping up, but it's not too late to give your carpets the ultimate refresh. Whether it's dirt from foot traffic, pet stains, or just the wear and tear of everyday life, Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning can bring your floors back to life. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $109 when you mention KSL, and they'll clean your hallway for free. Zero-Res uses a patented cleaning process with no soaps, no harsh chemicals, and no residue, so your carpets dry faster and stay cleaner longer. That means a healthier home for your family, pets, and guests. Don't wait until the craziness of summer is in full swing. Make your home feel fresh, clean, and truly ready for the season ahead. And get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $109 when you mention KSL. Call Zero-Res or schedule online at zerores.com to get your home cleaned the right way.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous You Don't Need a Warranty warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our You Don't Need a Warranty warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KSL News Time 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
heads up if you're planning a trip to southern Utah. Forecasters say it's possible we could see flash flooding at all our national parks today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Salt Lake City police are investigating after a motorcyclist was hit and killed in a hit-and-run crash overnight. Police say the suspect ran a stop sign and hit the motorcycle before driving off. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Construction is going to catch you if you're traveling southbound SR 36 Main Street in Tooele County. That right lane is blocked to traffic going from Lake Point down to Erta. Salt Lake County freeways all clear and looking good. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Much cooler temperatures today with partly cloudy skies, but thunderstorms down in southern Utah. I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine, 76 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national story.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After radar and communication outages along with runway repairs, the Transportation Department reduced flights in and out of Newark Liberty International. Today, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says runway construction is complete nearly 2 weeks early, and FAA training is underway to help fill air traffic controller shortages.
We have 16 in training. 14 of those are experienced controllers from other airspaces. They have to get trained up in this airspace. And so depending on where they're at in the training will depend on when they roll out of training and become certified controllers for this airspace.
The suspect in the Boulder flamethrower attack is due in court this afternoon. Federal authorities outlined charges in court documents that include a hate crime count for allegedly targeting a Jewish rally showing support for Hamas-held hostages. 8 people were injured, 2 are in critical condition. And on Wall Street, stocks are mixed in afternoon trading. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Police have found a missing 15-year-old South Jordan girl alive in Colorado after nearly 6 weeks of searching. Investigators say Elisa Petrov was talking to multiple men online before she disappeared, who are now facing charges in connection to the case. Retired FBI agent Greg Rogers says there are so many adults posing as teens online to access kids.
All day, every day. I mean, I used to, when I was teaching, I would teach in schools and teach parents, and I would get online. It could be 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I would get online and I would say, all right, I'm going to go on this particular app and I'm going to start talking. And I guarantee you, while I'm giving this lecture in 10 or 15 minutes, someone's going to hit on me, and I'd be online acting like I was a 13 or 14-year-old boy, and almost 100% of the time it would happen. Somebody would be like, hey, want to be your buddy. They want to meet somewhere. It's unfortunately, it happens all day, every day. These predators are on gaming systems. They're on different social media accounts, and that's what they do. That's what they do. That's why they get up in the morning. That's their passion. And it's, and again, unfortunately, they're very good at it. And parents just need to be very cognizant of that and need to be asking their kids who they're talking to.
Rogers says conversations about these dangers with your kids should be more normalized.
Yeah, and I think schools should be, there should be a class at every school, starting in elementary school, about the dangers of this and talking to your parents. And, we teach kids all sorts of things about, how they should be cautious, and you know, you hear all that stranger danger stuff. But kids should be very comfortable in saying to their parents, and this could come from schools, and it should certainly come from parents. You know, you'd hope it would be a normal conversation where your kid would come to you and say, yeah, hey, I was on my Xbox today, and somebody got on there and said they want to meet me somewhere, and I don't really know them. That's a conversation that kids should be comfortable having with their parents.
That is retired FBI agent Greg Rogers speaking with Debbie Dujanovic. He says if you hear about your child talking to someone suspicious online, call the police. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's a delay-free drive on the Valley freeways, but not crash-free. We still have the clearing of a crash southbound I-15 in the Sunset area, and those vehicles are out of traffic on the right shoulder. Over to the west side of the valley, construction delays again today. This is southbound SR 36 Main Street as you go from Lake Point to Erta. If you're making your way into Tooele County and onto Main Street, just be aware it's the right lane that's restricted to traffic. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialist. Whipple that away. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got thunderstorms down in southern Utah today, but the Wasatch Front, 80 degrees today, partly cloudy skies. 77 with sunshine on Tuesday. Wednesday, 79 with mostly sunny skies. Will then continue to climb. 83 degrees on Thursday, partly cloudy skies. Mix of sun and clouds on your Friday, 85. How about Saturday? 87. Sunday, 90 degrees. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 77 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Still mixed with the Dow in the red at this hour. Complete update of your money news coming up next.
Imagine waking up every morning with a smile you're proud of. No more hiding, no more pain. Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's Best of State winner for 3 years in a row, has helped thousands of people ditch the dentures and say goodbye to missing or broken teeth. Their expert team specializes in giving you a permanent, natural-looking smile with dental implants that feel and function just like real teeth. With over 2,000 five-star Google reviews, their patients say it best.
Dental implants gave me my life back. I feel confident again. I feel like I can be myself.
There was no way I was getting dentures. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been the best decision of my life.
Let the expert team at Stubbs Dental help you take the first step to changing your life with dental implants. Schedule your complimentary consultation today, a $350 value, absolutely free. Visit StubbsDental.com today. That's StubbsDental.com. StubbsDental.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
The #1 rodeo in Utah is back.
And it's a big one. The Western Stampede, celebrating 70 years.
July 3rd through 5th.
Rodeo, fireworks, carnival rides, a grand parade, and more. Come experience the legacy of one of Utah's most beloved rodeos.
That's excitement and fun for the whole family.
Celebrate this historic Western Stampede.
It's an event you won't want to miss.
Get your tickets now at westernstampede.com. Presented by Common Spirit.
There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit your Utah Hyundai dealers today.
For the first time in 25 years, the Indiana Pacers will play in the 2025 NBA Finals. Fan Rob Mello says he's ready.
It's a great time to be here in Indianapolis. The city's on fire. They're excited for it. Between the Pacers and the Fever, we're like the basketball capital of the world right now.
The Pacers will face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first game of the best of 7 this Thursday. Watching Utah's money. South Korea's exports fell last month. It was the first time in 4 months as shipments to the U.S. and China fell, thanks in part to tariffs. Reuters says they paused shipments to the biggest markets in the world, and that is hurting the economy. More homeowners are going without insurance. The Federal Reserve's Economic Well-Being of U.S. households says 7% of them don't have property insurance. Almost half of them say it's because it's just too expensive. Less people are going to the Hamptons. CNBC reports summer rentals are down 30% from the same period in previous years. Ultra high-end rentals are seeing an ever bigger drop, with rentals down 50 to 75%. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 53 points, sitting at 42,216. S&P 500 up by 15. The NASDAQ up by 112 points. The Salt Lake Community College baseball team won the Junior College World Series over the weekend. The 8th-seeded Bruins took down number 1-seeded Walters State 9-6 in the final game. The win is SLCC's first championship in program history.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. If you've lived more than a decade, you've seen organizations die, companies, nonprofits, even nations. We often think that in a turbulent world, stability is our safety net, but the opposite is true. When turbulence abounds, organizations that can adapt survive. It's worth saying that again. When turbulence abounds, organizations that can adapt survive. Having a death grip on the status quo, denying the need for change, and using history as a roadmap is the surest way to become obsolete. Whether at an individual or a corporate level, we should not be asking if we should change, but how can we change? Learn more about dealing with change in an MBA program from Utah State. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
See American Mosaic. This outdoor patriotic show combines talents of Jenny Oaks Baker, Ben Loma, BYU folk dancers, and more. Celebrating God, country, and culture. June 9th. Tickets at jennyoaksbaker.com.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they gonna know?
Talk. They hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Dollar Double Rewards credit card promotion. Let's check in now with Ricky Meese.
We still have the final cleanup of this crash. This is southbound I-15 going into the Sunset area. These vehicles have been out of traffic the entire time over to the right shoulder. So I-15 still enjoying a delay-free drive both directions between Ogden and Provo. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecast calls for a high of 80 degrees today. Just a very slight chance of a pop-up thunder shower. Tomorrow, 77 for the high, but no chance of rain for Tuesday or Wednesday. And then that chance of showers creeping back into the forecast for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Right now, mostly cloudy skies and 77 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A Utah teen found safe after her disappearance more than a month ago. Her parents?
They're just completely overjoyed that she's safe and happy that she's safe, and they're waiting to find out all the information that they can on what happened. But basically, right now, the only thought going through their head is, thank goodness our daughter's safe and she's going to be coming home to us.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, June 2nd. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the latest developments in the case and more on the 3 men charged in connection with her disappearance. Also this hour.
So we know it's spreading. We know it's getting closer to Utah.
Health experts saying it's only a matter of time before the measles outbreak makes it here to Utah. But first, our top stories. The missing 15-year-old out of South Jordan is alive and safe after nearly 6 weeks of searching. Investigators say she walked into the Colorado Springs Police Department and told them who she was. Now, we should soon start learning more details about the cases against the 3 men already charged in the teen's case now that she's safe. KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda says the victim will be the key to the investigation.
He'll be able to testify against these men, and of course they're presumed innocent, but if they're in fact the perpetrators and she can identify them, it really creates a very powerful case for the state.
Skordas calls it a miracle that she was able to freely walk into a police station in Colorado after being gone this long. He says many missing persons cases don't end up that way. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A suspect has been charged with a hate crime following an attack on a group of people gathering to show their support for freeing the hostages in Gaza. ABC's Alex Stone has more on the police investigation from Boulder.
They were at his Colorado Springs home overnight. That is about 2 hours away from here. They were going through evidence there, trying to piece together what led Solomon allegedly here to Boulder and where he got this makeshift flamethrower that was allegedly used by Solomon as well. So a lot that they've got to piece together.
8 people are recovering. Ukraine and Russia are talking but haven't made any breakthroughs. Delegations from both countries met in Turkey for their second round of direct peace talks in just over 2 weeks. Yesterday, both sides unleashed a string of long-range attacks. President Trump is planning on doubling the tariffs on European steel and aluminum imports next week. The president says his goal is to make sure U.S. production is prioritized.
The production is there. That's the president's stated goal. He said he is raising these tariffs because he wants to help the domestic steel industry. But there's so much analysis on this right now is saying that likely what companies will do is you can't shift that production so quickly. You will continue to import foreign steel and take that higher cost right now with the 50% tariff and that will likely get passed on to consumers. You could see this at the grocery store, too, with cans, not just the big ticket items like cars and appliances.
ABC's Karen Travers reporting. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is quickly making improvements, now down by only 13 points, sitting at 42,257. S&P is up by 18. The NASDAQ, it's up by 120 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here's Ricky Meese.
Pretty quiet on your Salt Lake County freeways. The final cleanup of a crash southbound I-15 in the Sunset area, and it's out of traffic on the shoulder. We haven't seen any delay. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A bit cooler today. The high only 80 degrees, and cooler still tomorrow with a high of 77. 10% chance of showers this afternoon. Right now, 77 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. Visit your Utah Hyundai dealers today.
Pantheon Clinical Research is conducting a chronic migraine clinical trial. Located just minutes from Salt Lake City with plenty of free parking, this study is open to children ages 12 to 17 who suffer from chronic migraines. To pre-qualify, your child must have 8 or more migraine attacks each month and at least 15 headache days. They should also currently be taking or have taken oral medication for migraine relief. All study-related visits, tests, and medications will be provided at no cost. Plus, reimbursement for study-related travel may also be available. As a parent, it's never easy to watch your child suffer. This is your chance to help them find relief. For more information, call Pantheon Clinical Research at 385-281-0550. That's Pantheon Clinical Research, 385-281-0550. Or visit us online at pantheonclinical.com. Again, that's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
After nearly 6 weeks missing, a South Jordan 15-year-old is found safe in Colorado. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. South Jordan Police say Elisa Petrov got in contact with police in Colorado herself. Officer Sean Becker explains the situation.
She walked into the Colorado Springs Police Department and identified herself as the South Jordan runaway that's been missing. And they instantly got into contact with the South Jordan Police Department, where detectives were able to make contact with the department and confirmed that it was Alyssa. We immediately activated the protocol where we contact the family to let her know that the family that she had been identified and located. It is our understanding that she is well and in good health. And we are overjoyed and delighted that the family's going to be reunited and that she's safe. For my detectives, the investigation is long. It's going to continue, right? It's not over. They're going to continue to do everything they can to figure out what happened. For them, there's going to be a debrief, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be a debrief with the family, and we're going to take the time necessary so the family can reconnect before that investigation continues. But definitely the best outcome. And I'm sure my detectives are breathing a sigh of relief today.
Becker tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that this was the best possible outcome.
This was a missing girl case, and we were finding and holding bad actors. involved in that case accountable. If others become available, we will do the same and hold them accountable as well. This investigation isn't over. If anything, it's just beginning. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of it and we can hold people accountable that need to be. It was a very, very good night, not only for my police department, my detectives, but for the family and the South Jordan community.
Last week, we spoke with the founder of the Missing in America Network, Rhonda DeCare, about this case. This morning, she tells me she's excited to hear Elisa is safe and has already spoken to the Petrov family.
I am very relieved, and I'm very happy that Elisa is safe. I am always very, very thrilled when we have positive outcomes like this.
So how common is it for a teenage girl like this to be found safe after being missing for more than a month?
It is pretty common. We have about 90% of our cases, the teens are found within a couple weeks. But still, most of them do come home, and especially in cases where they've left the state and they've been gone for a while, it is pretty common for them to come home safe. In our cases, we only have about a 2% chance of there being a negative outcome, meaning that they do not return home safe.
So what do you think happened in this case that's different that led to her safe return?
I'm hoping it was the media coverage. So I don't have any details yet. I have spoke with their family this morning briefly, and they're still awaiting all the details as well. So we don't have any answers. But my initial thought is that I'm really hoping it was all the media coverage, that wherever she was with, the person that she was with became uncomfortable and urged her to go to the police station and turn herself in. And that's what my hope is.
You've had a chance to actually speak to her parents. What are they saying today?
They're just completely overjoyed that she's safe and happy that she's safe. And they're waiting to find out all the information that they can on what happened. But basically, right now, the only thought going through their head is, thank goodness our daughter's safe and she's going to be coming home to us.
I do have to ask you, this isn't the end for the family. I mean, what is it going to be like for them now that they are going to be rejoined with her? They probably have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. There is always aftercare, and we have a complete aftercare program that we speak with the families about. It starts with, of course, counseling, talking about what happened and working through it. But the good news is that they're going to be able to work through it together as a family, and I have no doubt that Elisa is going to move on from this and have a great future.
What are your thoughts on these men who are charged in connection with this case?
I'm glad they've been charged. I think that it's far too common for predators to go unpunished. It's starting to change. The digital evidence trail is making it harder for abusers to hide. And in Elisa's case, it's encouraging to see arrests made because it sends a clear message. Luring vulnerable teens online is going to have consequences.
Any final thoughts for us?
Thank you to everyone who shared Elisa's story. Everybody played a part in her coming home, no matter what reason she was gone is. We all as a community played a part in her coming home safe, and so thank you to everybody.
That is the founder of the Missing in America Network, Rhonda DeCare. There are still a lot of unanswered questions and details we're hoping to get from authorities, but in the meantime, she is safe and secure. 3 men facing charges in connection with her case. KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda spoke to Debbie Dujanovic and Aaron Ryder about those charges today.
They charged these men several weeks ago. They charged them with chatting with her on May 12th. So you wonder what has happened in the intervening, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks between the time when they were charged. And these are very, very serious charges.
One of the men charged is expected to be in court later today. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has the preview.
3 men, 1 from Utah and 2 from other states, have all been arrested and charged with felonies related to alleged conversations they had with Elisa Petrov before she went missing on April 21st. 37-year-old William Taylor Glines from Texas was arrested back on May 12th, accused of having sexually explicit conversations with Elisa on social media before her disappearance. He's facing several charges here in Utah, including aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. Just last week, police arrested Miami native 35-year-old Matthew Nicholas Menard after they accused him of also having inappropriate conversations with Elisa on social media even months before she went missing. Charging documents say the two even discussed meeting up in Las Vegas at one point, where police say Elisa initially might have been trying to go. Menard is due in court in Provo today. He's also facing multiple counts of aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, among other charges. The third suspect, 41-year-old Samuel Mitchell of Harriman, is in jail awaiting his first court appearance. Prosecutors also accused him of having inappropriate conversations with Alyssa on social media. He's being charged with 5 separate counts of sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of enticing a minor.
The whole situation has brought up concerns for parents. How do I make sure my children are safe when they're online? How do I make sure that they're not talking with adults about inappropriate things? Former FBI agent Greg Rogers spoke on Dave and Dujanovic about the things that parents need to know.
Parents need to understand, and you can do it in a non-overbearing way, but you need to be checking in with your kids and just simply asking them, who are you talking to? I mean, and not in a way that's like they're in trouble. I raised 3 daughters who are thankfully now all adults, but it's, they weren't, and this may sound a little overbearing, but you shouldn't allow your kid to have an iPhone in their room all by themselves all night, and laptops, and hours of unsupervised use is something bad is going to happen. So I think parents should consider always asking their kids who you're talking to. Do you know that person? How'd you meet them? Those are normal questions, and I think it's just something parents have to do. You can't allow your kids to be talking to folks online that they don't know, because that 15-year-old they think is their best buddy, and they want to meet, somewhere and go do something fun. It very likely is an older predator.
Rogers says in a lot of cases involving child predators, once the child is gone, it's really hard to get them back.
Parents, again, really need to realize that some of these predators, their whole goal is to get that kid to a certain place where they can grab them, and it's going to end up much worse. It's not going to be a situation where that kid can willingly walk away.
Former FBI agent Greg Rogers there speaking on Dave and Dujanovic. A man suspected of carrying out an anti-Semitic act of terrorism in Boulder is behind bars, charged with a federal hate crime. More on that story in just a few minutes. But first is KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
The freeways looking good, traffic nice and quiet on all of the Valley freeways, but we do have an accident on a side street. Crews at the scene at 9th West at about 20th South. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's really great to have so many options to lose weight, but if you're looking for an all-natural program because you're worried about side effects from things like injections or surgery or other medications, then I want to tell you about an all-natural program. It's called Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I've lost more than 40 pounds with this great program, 25 pounds of it in the first 60 days. Many people lose up to a pound per day. And this program isn't as expensive as other programs because there are no prepackaged meals or other products that you're required to buy. Plus, it's easy to stick with. They have a great app that helps you stay accountable, and this app gives you inspiration every morning, just a minute of inspiration, great recipes, and again, keeps you accountable. This program is just a simple combination of foods that melt the stored fat quickly, and that means it's easy to stick with. You can save now. Just go to slcfatloss.com to find out how, or you can call them 801-450-1882, slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
You've built the dream, the home, the lifestyle, the legacy. Now it's time your windows and doors reflect that same $1 million standard. Whether you're designing a stunning custom home or upgrading the one you've loved for years, Peach Doors and Windows is here to bring that vision to life with precision, style, and craftsmanship.
The Peach specialty? High-end custom windows and doors that don't just fit your space, they elevate it. From sleek modern lines to timeless elegant finishes, they offer the kinds of craftsmanship that truly complements a $1 million space. And with Peach, the process is easy. No pressure, no gimmicks, just knowledgeable experts helping you find solutions to turn your someday project into right now.
Visit their spacious showroom, get inspired, and create something beautiful together. Peach Doors and Windows for the $1 million home you live in and the $1 million feeling you deserve. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 today.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
The Utah RV Palooza is ready for another round of RV savings. But this time, we're hooking you up, South Salt Lake County. June 5th through the 7th, we're bringing our packed inventory of new and used RVs to you on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. Shop all the best RV brands fit for any budget and all at show pricing. You'll find payments starting under $139 per month on approved credit on select new RVs and clearance pricing on all remaining new 2024s while they last. You'll also get 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Start shopping the best deals now at UtahRVPalooza.com. And it's the only show featuring the full lineup from Wayfinder RV, available exclusively through Bish's. Plus, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. All this plus free admission to the Utah RV Palooza, June 5th through the 7th on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. See you in Harriman.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 89922. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Deal number 822B426B.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The kind of inside scoop you only get from KSL. Editor of Utah Policy, Holly Richardson, a.k.a. Holly on the Hill, and KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Greg and Holly make up the new Inside Sources, 9 to noon, starting next Monday on KSL News Radio.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Several demonstrators out of Boulder, Colorado are recovering this afternoon after being attacked while marching to support Israeli hostages. The FBI says the suspect used a makeshift flamethrower and allegedly yelled "Free Palestine" as he attacked the demonstrators. Authorities say the suspect, Mohammed Soliman, said that he had planned this attack for more than a year. ABC's Josh Morgolin has the latest and speaks with Start Here host Brad Milkey.
A little more than a week ago, there was a shooting in Washington, D.C. Quickly, the evidence painted a disturbing picture. It took place right outside the Jewish History Museum, where an event was underway. The victims were both staffers at the Israeli embassy, and according to an FBI affidavit, the suspect was said to have told police officers, quote, "I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza." Since then, the pictures coming out of Gaza have only gotten more upsetting. In fact, just this weekend, gunshots went off as civilians poured into a Gaza aid center. Israel says its soldiers were firing at suspects advancing toward them well outside the aid center. The Hamas-run health ministry, though, along with the UN, now says dozens of people are dead while others continue to starve. And this is why national security folks were even more concerned by that shooting in D.C. They were fearful that it could serve as a spark plug for something more. Well, last night, Jewish Americans in Boulder, Colorado, demonstrating in support of hostages held by Hamas, said they were attacked, that they had come under fire, literally, and the FBI quickly declared this an act of terror. ABC's chief investigative reporter Josh Margolin starts us off. Josh, we did have some news conferences last night from Boulder PD and the FBI. I mean, as far as we can tell at this point, what happened?
The picture that we're getting from law enforcement and the videos on the scene, there was this regular march. It was totally peaceful. It was relatively subdued.
There was a group of pro-Israel people that were there in a peaceful demonstration. I wouldn't even call it a protest.
It's usually held in order to call for the release of the hostages still being held as part of the Israel-Hamas fighting in the Middle East. Before anybody was able to really realize what was happening, this individual allegedly started lighting Molotov cocktails.
The initial callers indicated that there was a man with a weapon and that people were being set on fire.
So there are these descriptions that we're hearing that people were actually on fire.
Just stay away. Just stay away. He's right there. He's throwing Molotov cocktails right there.
And then also, Brad, there are witness accounts that the suspect was using some sort of a makeshift flamethrower. So it really was just terrifying to the people there.
Everybody get back. Everybody get back. Everybody get back. He's right there. He's on the ground right there.
There are some people in the crowd that are tending to the injured, but also see the person.
A suspect was pointed out to our officers on the scene. Our officers immediately encountered that suspect who was taken into custody without incident.
The police quickly detain the man. They order him to the ground. And law enforcement says that along with doing what he was doing by throwing the Molotov cocktails and by trying to burn people with these incendiary devices, and then with this makeshift flamethrower, he was shouting slogans, suggesting, a pro-Palestinian viewpoint.
The suspect was heard to yell "Free Palestine" during the attack. The subject has been identified as Mohammed Sabri Solomon, and he's 45 years old.
Remember, as you say, in the incident in Washington less than 2 weeks ago at the Capitol Museum, the suspect in that case was seen on video shouting "Free Palestine."
Well, yeah, I mean, Josh, that's immediately what created so many concerns here. Was you had been sort of at the forefront a few weeks ago saying law enforcement were concerned about this. I mean, how nervous are law enforcement and national security groups right now about these sorts of incidents?
Well, they're only more concerned than they were 10 days ago. And already 10 days ago, they were, as concerned as they possibly could be. Let's just look at the tail of the tape going back not even 2 months to Passover, where the governor of Pennsylvania, who is Jewish, was hosting a traditional Passover meal called a Seder in the middle of the night. Somebody tries to burn the house down. Then we had the incident 10 days ago at the Jewish Museum in Washington. Now we have this. Law enforcement and government officials could not be more serious and more scared about the seriousness of this threat environment as it relates to, first of all types of political violence and threats, but especially as it relates to the Jewish community and locations that are perceived to be connected to Jews or to Israel.
Hey, what was also interesting to me here was the FBI, the new FBI director, Kash Patel, immediately came out and said this was a targeted terror attack. But then, pointedly, the chief of the Boulder PD, even the Colorado Attorney General, were not willing to go that far initially. I mean, why is that, and should we read anything into it?
The way the police reacted is much more typical.
We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again, it's way too early to speculate motive. I know there's a lot out there on social media, but I ask people just to give us a little bit of patience while we work through a really complex scene.
The FBI director was very, very quick to announce that it, to him, was a terror attack, and people immediately thought that. I don't want to say that it was rash,
but it was like if anyone had heard Free Palestine, like that would have been the local police first, and yet they were not going as far as the FBI at the moment.
Right. But there's a reality when you look at law enforcement agencies. The local police have to live in their community, and so they have a different level of pressure, and they cannot afford to get out ahead of the facts and announce something if it's not supported by the facts. It was very surprising and unusual to hear the FBI call it a terror attack before the incident had even officially concluded. It could be a terrorist attack, and certainly he allegedly shouted something along the lines of Free Palestine. It could be a hate crime. It could be a violent crime, an attempted murder. Any of those things are possible, and frankly, they could even charge multiple things. We just don't know, and what the police and the district attorney said at the press conference last night is that they are well aware of what happened. They are doing their investigating, and over the next couple of days, they will figure things out. They will announce their decision. But right now, the most important thing is that the people that were injured are getting treated.
I'm able to confirm there are 6 victims, ages 67 to 88. All of them have been transported to local hospitals.
The person who is suspected of committing the crime is in custody. Law enforcement said very clearly there is no reason to believe there are any other suspects. This episode is over. The person suspected of the crime is locked up.
Right, and regardless of the charges, which we don't have yet, there could be federal, there could be state charges. Right now, they're just holding that suspect. Regardless of that, all these officials have been clear that this was an unacceptable, terrible act of violence on a peaceful group of barely even protesters, just demonstrators, people showing how they felt about these hostages overseas. Josh Margolin, thank you so much.
Brad, thank you.
Solomon has now been charged with a federal hate crime and is due in court shortly. Leaders here in Utah are also reacting to the attack in Boulder. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has that story.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson posted on X saying, quote, "The violent attack on peaceful demonstrators is a shocking and painful reminder that hate and prejudice persist in our society," adding that Utah stands in solidarity with the victims and the entire Boulder community. Senator Mike Lee also took to X, asking people to join him in praying for the people hurt by the attack, saying Jewish Americans and all who stand for the hostages should not have to march in fear. And the United Jewish Federation of Utah released a statement shortly after, saying the attack reflects growing concern over anti-Semitic violence nationwide, and, quote, "We are committed to protecting Jewish life, standing with Jewish communities across the country, and calling on our faith, civic, and government leaders to denounce these threats clearly, quickly, and forcefully." Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Senator John Curtis writing on social media today saying in part that, quote, he strongly condemns the violent targeted attack on peaceful demonstrators who were marching in support of Israeli hostages. The suspect, who was living in the U.S. illegally after overstaying a visa, must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Anti-Semitism has no place in our country. I will always stand with our Jewish friends, with Israel. Utah Rabbi Avrami Zippel also writing on X, responding to the attacks by saying, "Fill 'em with love, fill 'em with light, fill 'em with Jewish pride." It's 1:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A massive password breach putting your data in danger today. Free lunch programs available for Utah kids this summer. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
A quiet drive on all the Valley freeways and our main secondaries. If you're traveling I-15, good speeds both directions between Ogden and Provo. Maria?
Thanks, Ricky. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. First, the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The suspect in the Boulder flamethrower attack at a Jewish rally Sunday is appearing in court today. Federal prosecutors say charges include a hate crime for the targeted attack that injured 8 people. ABC's Alex Stone is in Boulder.
We know from these court documents that prosecutors allege that he had pre-planned this for over a year, even waiting for his daughter to graduate before he came here about 2 hours from Colorado Springs to Boulder, buying gas on his way here, planning this out, Googling an event, a pro-Israeli event, finding this one here in Boulder, and saying he was waiting to kill his victims, that he specifically wanted to kill them.
On Capitol Hill, Senate lawmakers beginning talks on that sweeping reconciliation package already passed by the House. Many GOP senators, though, along with Democrats, are opposed to the sweeping cuts, especially to Medicaid. Sean Diddy Combs' former personal assistant was back on the stand today in the former music mogul's sex trafficking trial. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. There's a risk of flash flooding across much of the southern half of the state today, including in all of our national parks. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
The National Weather Service tells me this is courtesy of tropical storm remnants making their way into the state, which could drop heavy rain in some areas, including the Mighty Five, but the risk is higher around places like Zion National Park and Grand Staircase Escalante. While there's no guarantee you'll see flooding, forecasters are urging everyone to check the forecast ahead of time and consider a plan B if you're thinking about going into a slot canyon.
Forecasters say there will be a chance of flash flooding in these areas tomorrow and Wednesday as well. People living in a Salt Lake City apartment complex got a scary wake-up call when a small fire broke out in one of the units. Captain Chad Jefferson says crews acted quickly.
Crews were able to make a quick knockdown on that fire. They had easy access via a window and were able to knock the fire down fairly rapidly and save the majority of the structure and the contents inside of the building.
They are not sure what caused the fire, but they think it could have been from a lithium-ion scooter battery. Crews are still investigating. Plans for a bike path to connect the 300 West Bikeway to Pioneer Park are now 1 block short.
The city has been planning to extend the bikeway for a safe and comfortable road for commuters for months. But UDOT recently asked for the section between 300 South and 400 South to be removed from the project. No reason has officially been given for the change, but the change does come after a recent bill was passed allowing the state to have more control over Salt Lake City streets. The bikeway will still be built up to 400 South, and the city says they're working on new plans for the crossing. Construction will begin this month at 900 South. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Salt Lake City police are investigating after a motorcyclist was hit and killed in a hit-and-run crash overnight. It happened around 2100 South and 4th East. Police say the suspect ran a stop sign, hit the motorcycle before driving off. This story is developing. We will provide more details as we get them. A Utah Highway Patrol trooper will have to serve 2 years on probation after he pleaded guilty to sexual battery related to an off-duty incident. Bronson Wood admitted to selling or offering alcohol to a 19-year-old woman and then touching her inappropriately. The woman told prosecutors that she waited a year to report what happened because Wood is an officer and she thought that no one would believe her. Wood's been on leave since his arrest. Taking a look at your money at this moment. The Dow is down by 14 points at this hour. It sits at 42,255. Making a bit of an improvement, now only down 7 points. S&P 500 up by 19 points, and the NASDAQ gets up by 119 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We are looking at a quiet drive. All the Valley freeways are seeing good speeds, including I-15, both directions in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. A little bit of backup northbound, SR 36 in Tooele County. This is actually in Tooele on Main Street at 10th North. Ricky Meese, the KSL Traffic Center.
We are expected to hit 80 degrees for a high today. Just a very slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler with a high of 77 and 79 on Wednesday. 78 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. A massive data breach from over the weekend might be the biggest one in history. ABC's Jim Ryan says it should serve as a reminder to anyone with a Facebook presence, a Google account, including Android or an Apple device.
It's time to change your passwords and update your devices. A massive data breach that compromised more than 184 million passwords is being called a cyber criminal's dream. Online researchers say the leak affected everything from email accounts to social media logins to bank accounts. The problem? The file containing all that sensitive information was itself not password protected. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
The database containing the information was discovered by security researcher Jeremiah Fowler. It's not clear where or how that data was collected. Joining me now to talk about this and what it means for you is Brandon Amaker, director of the Emergency Tech Policy Lab and instructor at the UVU Center for National Security Studies. And thanks for being with me and spending a few minutes with us. ABC's Jim Ryan recommends that folks change their passwords. Does that mean that we should be changing all of our passwords?
So it's a good question, and it's a bit of a complex answer. I would say rotating passwords is generally a good practice. However, what's much more important, I would say, is maybe implementing a password manager where you can use much more complex passwords, which are computer generated, because really when it comes to password security, it's not just frequency of rotation, it's also how long and how complex is it, which essentially equals how difficult it would be to guess with a computer.
So what makes a strong password?
Really, the biggest component of it is length. If we're talking about a password, strength, length is the number one factor that correlates with strength. So what I would recommend for those who maybe don't want to use a computer-generated password or a password manager would be to use a phrase of some sort. We're talking, minimum of 12, optimally 16 plus characters. And if you can incorporate numbers or symbols into that as well, it just increases the amount of potential options that a computer would have to guess in order to get your password correct.
So even when we have these password managers, should we still be updating those?
From time to time, it may not be a bad idea when, as in this case, every once in a while, a password will leak. But the thing that's positive about a password manager is that these passwords are computer generated. And you're able to update them much more easily because you are able to use different passwords for every different service that you use across the internet. That makes it much less of a big deal than if you're using the same password everywhere. If that password gets breached, say, on some sports website, then they can't use that same password to get into your bank account or your social media.
Why do you think many of us resist using a password manager?
I think to a certain extent, sometimes it can feel a little counterintuitive saying, hey, I want to put all my passwords into this one program. But as I stated, it's not necessarily that it's giving you a single point of failure. And you do want to make sure that you have a very good, strong password and multi-factor authentication set up on a password manager. But I think sometimes people view that and they think, well, this is just one thing that I'm using to sign to everything. When in reality, it's allowing you to generate a unique, strong password for every single account that you use. And beyond that, what I would even recommend is, beyond just using a password manager, enable multi-factor authentication absolutely everywhere that you can.
Okay, I have it almost everywhere. And I will tell you, though, it's incredibly annoying, and you have to give yourself time to sign in to certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just kind of the trade-off.
Annoying on purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Every step that is taken in order to ensure security is going to cause a little bit of inconvenience. And part of that is just because of the fact that it also inconveniences people who are attempting to log into your account illegitimately. That being said, do you need to enable multi-factor authentication on absolutely everything? If you're playing a mobile game, maybe not. But if it's anything that you would be very concerned if a nefarious actor were to get a hold of, it's worth the extra couple seconds upon signing in order to ensure that your social media, that your bank account, that whatever it might be doesn't fall into the hands of anybody who is not authorized.
Are there some other things that we should be doing as a result of this massive data breach?
I would say that the biggest thing is I think the mentality needs to shift a little bit among people who use digital services. In that I think that for a long time we've operated under the assumption that our data is secure. Now I feel like it's actually a much safer assumption to assume that your data has been compromised in some way and that it could potentially be used against you. Meaning, is it likely that if you've been an adult for more than a few years in this country that your Social Security number is completely unknown? Not very. It is more than likely that it has been breached in some form. So you would want to ensure that all of your accounts are locked down in such a way that even if somebody had access to that information, they wouldn't be able to easily co-opt your account.
I think a lot of us are just getting complacent because we just keep hearing about a breach after a breach after a breach.
Absolutely. And that is exactly the problem, right, is that you feel almost helpless because this is happening so frequently. But that is why I do think the mentality needs to switch from, hey, I need to try to safeguard all this data, ensure that it never gets out, and if it gets out, all is lost. In reality, that's not the case. There are security measures that all of us can take, regardless of whether or not we've been affected by 1 or 12 data breaches, that make it significantly harder for a threat actor to really extract any value from us, even if they have some very, very sensitive information on us.
Brandon, appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is Brandon Ombakuri. He's the director of the Emerging Tech Policy Lab and an instructor at the UVU Center for National Security Studies. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
When was the last time your vacation was living the art of adventure? Discover it in Cedar City, Utah. Towering red rocks, epic trails, summer events, and world-class drama at the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival starting June 17th with Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, and more. Marvel at nature's masterpieces with just a short drive to Zion, Bryce Canyon, Cedar Breaks, and Kolob Canyons. Discover Utah's earliest artists at the Parowan Gap Petroglyph site. Head up to Bryan Head for chairlift rides that deliver endless high-elevation views. Wildflower Meadows, topped off with ATV and downhill biking trails. Be starstruck by the skies at Cedar Breaks National Monument. Browse Cedar City's unique shops and indulge in savory bites. Come experience the art of adventure around every turn in Cedar City. Start planning your vacation right now at visitcedarcity.com.
It's only a matter of time before Utah has its first measles case. That's according to Nicholas Rupp, the spokesman for the Salt Lake County Health Department.
So we have had 14 measles outbreaks in the United States so far in 2025. And that has encompassed over 1,000 cases of measles. So we know it's spreading. We know it's getting closer to Utah. You know, states closer to Utah have had cases than a few weeks ago. So I do think it's a matter of time before we have a case here locally in the state or in Salt Lake County. So it's really important that everyone in Utah make sure they're up to date on their MMR vaccine. Children should have 2 doses of the vaccine. Adults should have 1 dose at some point in their life, and people who were born before 1957, they are considered immune due to the endemic nature of measles back in that time.
Rupp tells KSL News Radio younger baby boomers and some Gen X adults may still need a booster, especially if they're planning to fly somewhere this summer.
For adults who were vaccinated before 1968, they should talk to their healthcare provider about getting a second dose because the vaccine used prior to 1968 was not as long-lasting as the current vaccine is. It's also important that if you're going to travel internationally or at this point even domestically, that you are up to date on MMR because of the spread of measles we're seeing around the nation.
And we asked him, why is this such a big concern?
Measles is really contagious. In fact, it is one of the most contagious infectious diseases we know of. More than 90% of people who are exposed to measles who are not immune will catch the disease. It's just extraordinarily contagious. Some people think measles is just a little rash and a fever, and that's that. And that may be true in some people, but it can cause really serious health complications, especially in children under 5, in women who are pregnant. It can result in some really lifelong and debilitating effects.
Rupp says if you are allergic to the components of the MMR vaccine or you have underlying conditions, you want to talk to your doctor before signing up for the vaccine. But for the vast majority, he says it's a great protection from getting measles.
The measles vaccine is very effective. So if you are up to date, which as I said is a single dose in your lifetime for adults who are vaccinated after 1968, or 2 doses for children in modern times, if you're up to date, you are considered more than 97% protected against measles. So there is that very small 3% chance that you may still get infected despite being vaccinated, but 3% is very small odds compared to 90+% that we know you will catch measles if you're exposed when you have no protection.
As of today, there are no reported cases in Utah, but with cases in 33 states, some of them bordering Utah, again, Rupp believes it's a matter of time. Many kids worry about where their next meal will come from. After the break, a look at how those kids can still get fed during the summer months. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A good drive on the Valley freeways. Looks like we may have a small accident northbound Mountain View corridor at the corner of South Jordan Parkway, but out of traffic on the shoulder. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Imagine waking up every morning with a smile you're proud of. No more hiding, no more pain. Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's Best of State winner for 3 years in a row, has helped thousands of people ditch the dentures and say goodbye to missing or broken teeth. Their expert team specializes in giving you a permanent, natural-looking smile with dental implants that feel and function just like real teeth. With over 2,000 5-star Google reviews, their patients say it best.
Dental implants gave me my life back. I feel confident again. I feel like I can be myself.
There was no way I was getting dentures. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been the best decision of my life.
Let the expert team at Stubbs Dental help you take the first step to changing your life with dental implants. Schedule your complimentary consultation today, a $350 value, absolutely free. Visit StubbsDental.com today. That's StubbsDental.com. StubbsDental.com.
It's time for the KSL Give-a-thon.
We need your help raising money for sick Utah kids receiving treatment at Primary Children's Hospital.
Go to KSLkids.com and donate today.
Be a smile maker. An automatic gift each month helps save the lives of children all year long.
Sponsored by J&J Garden Center in Layton.
A big thanks to other generous sponsors, including the Utah Hyundai dealers, for their amazing support of the kids at Primary Children's.
The KSL Give-a-thon. We can't do it without you. Please give today at KSLkids.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
The Utah RV Palooza is ready for another round of RV savings. But this time, we're hooking you up, South Salt Lake County. June 5th through the 7th, we're bringing our packed inventory of new and used RVs to you on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. Shop all the best RV brands fit for any budget and all at show pricing. You'll find payments starting under $139 per month on approved credit on select new RVs. And clearance pricing on all remaining new 2024s while they last. You'll also get 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Start shopping the best deals now at UtahRVPalooza.com. And it's the only show featuring the full lineup from Wayfinder RV, available exclusively through Bish's. Plus, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. All this plus free admission to the Utah RV Palooza, June 5th through the 7th on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. See you in Harriman.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 89922. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Deal number 822B426B.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. Hurricane season is officially underway. It kicked off yesterday, and there's something new and unique when it comes to tracking this year's hurricanes. ABC's Wayne Cabot reports.
Starting this year, the National Hurricane Center will give people the projected storm track 72 hours in advance, up from the current 48 hours, a whole extra day to prepare or evacuate. The National Weather Service tells Axios that they're also in the process of mapping the entire country to help people visualize what flooding will look like in their area. They tried it last year in Nashville and say it led to a hospital being evacuated before it flooded during Hurricane Helene. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA, is predicting 13 to 19 named storms this season, which runs from June 1st until November 30th. NOAA says warmer ocean temperatures are a major contributor to the yearly rise in hurricanes, saying more heat means more energy. Well, at least one of the problems that has been plaguing one of the busiest airports in the country has been solved. ABC's Sherry Preston has more.
Some relief for travelers through Newark Liberty Airport. They still have some communications issues there, and they still have some air traffic control shortages, but the runway that had been under construction for weeks, reducing the number of landings and takeoffs, is clear of the orange cones today. This traveler couldn't be happier.
A lot of my family members were just worried for me coming to this airport.
That runway had been shut down for weeks, but now planes have been taking off and landing without any problems. Sherry Preston, ABC News, New York.
In local news, many school districts around the state have wrapped up their school year. A few more will finish up later this week. For kids who usually get their main meal from the schools, that can cause some worry and concern about getting fed during the summer. I sat down with Sharon Turner from the Utah State Board of Education to talk about the summer lunch programs. First of all, Sharon, talk about the need for summer lunches.
Sure. So students need access to nutritious meals, and obviously they're out of school in the summer, but they still need to eat. And so there are a few programs that Utah participates in that allow students to have access while they're not in the classroom.
Yeah, how many people actually take part in this?
Well, in 2024, school year 2024, there was close to 650,000 students that had access to school meals. And of those students, about 32% were eligible for free or reduced price meal.
So go ahead, tell me about some of the programs that are available.
So there are two main programs. The first one that I want to talk about is Sun Meals. Sun Meals is an option for students to go to certain schools, parks, other popular locations around their neighborhood and get food. Now, some of these locations, you can pick up the food and take it home with you, or it gets delivered to you. Those are more popular in our rural areas, but a lot of the sites, you have to sit and eat the meal there. And this is available to all students under the age of 18, regardless of income, and there is no cost associated with those meals at all.
That's kind of a fun option. I didn't know that that was available for students. Kind of takes away any stigma.
Yes, and they do these meal gatherings at parks, schools, like I said, popular areas around the community. So it is a good way for those students to not only receive nutritious meals, but get together and see some members of their community and fellow students while they're outside of the school.
What is the other option?
The other option is called Sun Bucks. This is the summer EBT food program, and this is a debit card. It is preloaded with $120, so any eligible student will get a card with $120 on it that they can take to the grocery store, and they can buy food, they can buy drinks. However, hot food is generally excluded, and medicine and hygiene items are also excluded. But normal grocery items are eligible, and they do allow you to shop at farmers markets with that as well.
Who is
now,
eligible?
I'm so sorry.
Go right ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
This one's a little bit different because it's not for everyone. This one is eligible to only students who are also receiving benefits like SNAP or similar programs like that. or if the child attends a school lunch program, a national school lunch school, things like that. So this one is a little bit more restrictive than the Sun Meals program, but it's still a good option. And the goal of this is to provide a little bit more flexibility for our rural students who maybe have a difficult time getting to those access points and those meal sites.
So do they have to apply for that? I mean, you mentioned there are people who are already in other programs, but do they have to apply for the summer program?
So if you are in one of those other programs like SNAP, you likely don't need to apply because it will automatically get mailed to your house. However, there are some exceptions, and sometimes you do end up having to apply. And if you do have to apply, it'll ask you some basic questions like child's name, school address, and verify the household income.
Do people know about these options? Or, I mean, how hard is it to get the word out that they are available to those who need them?
We hope that everyone knows. We've done a lot of work on our end from USBE in terms of social media posts and things like that to get the word out, press releases. I know that it's been on the news a handful of times, which is great. And I'd also like to note that on our website and the USDA website, there are downloads available in multiple languages, including Spanish and Chinese.
Any final thoughts for us before I let you go?
No, ma'am. I would just like to sum it up and say that we hope that our students take advantage of these options for nutritious meals, and we hope that it helps them stay full during the summer months, and we hope to see them happy and healthy at the next school year.
You can get more information on the Summer Food Service Program at schools.utah.gov.
It's the KSL Giveathon. Be a smile maker for the kids at Primary Children's Hospital.
Don't forget about KSL's Giveathon. We're raising money to help the children and families of those receiving treatment at Primary Children's Hospital. You can donate now by visiting kslkids.com or by texting the word SMILE to 57500. And a special thanks to J&J Garden Center for being our Smile Maker sponsor. You too can be a smile maker. All you have to do is commit to a small donation of $15 or more a month.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Utah Democrats electing a new leader for the state party.
I believe Utah's ready for a Democratic Party that doesn't whisper our values, but that stands up for them loudly and proudly.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, June 2nd. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, political analysis of what Democrats here hope to accomplish. Also this hour,
the summer is exciting, right? Like everyone looks forward to the summer, from like teachers to kids.
Summer now underway for most of Utah's children. How can you make sure that they don't fall in the trap to the summer slide? But first, our top stories. A Utah Highway Patrol trooper will have to serve 2 years on probation after he pleaded guilty to sexual battery related to an off-duty incident. Bronson Wood admitted selling or offering alcohol to a 19-year-old woman and then touching her inappropriately. The woman told prosecutors she waited a year to report what happened because Wood is an officer and she thought that no one would believe her. Wood's been on leave since his arrest. Our top national story from ABC News. The suspect in the Boulder, Colorado firebombing attack during a pro-Israel march is facing attempted murder charges in state court. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett has more.
Because the feds have charged him, you're really telling people, look, if you do something like this or you plan something like this and we find it out, we're going to stop you or we're going to pursue you if you did pull it off until we catch you. It's a bit of accountability, and maybe we'll back some people off.
He's also accused of committing a federal hate crime. The president is now reacting to the attack.
President Trump responding to the attack in Boulder, Colorado, the day after it happened, writing in a social media post that it will not be tolerated. The Department of Homeland Security said Monday the man suspected of carrying out the attack during a pro-Israel demonstration is in the U.S. illegally. His B-2 visa, typically a tourism visa, expired in February 2023. President Trump writes in his post, quote, "This is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland." Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Other national stories KSL is following. For the first time in 25 years, the Indiana Pacers will play in the 2025 NBA Conference Finals, and fans say they can't wait for the finals to begin.
It's a great time to be here in Indianapolis. The city's on fire. They're excited for it, between the Pacers and the Fever. We're like the basketball capital of the world right now.
The Pacers secured their spot in the finals Saturday night by defeating the New York Knicks in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. They will face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first game of the best of 7 this Thursday in Oklahoma City. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ended the day with just a slight gain, up by 35 points, sitting at 42,305 at the close. S&P 500 up by 24, the NASDAQ up by 128 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, I don't have any kind of traffic problem reported, but I am seeing traffic filling in and slowing down in an unusual spot. Southbound I-15 from the North Interchange down to 2300 North Warm Springs Road. It's busy. You're moving. You're just not moving at the posted limit. It gets kind of slow in spots. Just be aware you won't see better speeds until you're passing Warm Springs and on the way to downtown. Are you fighting a sewer line surprise, or has your barbecue gas line gone rogue? Utah Utility Pro tackles all your plumbing nightmares. Expert repairs, fast service, UtahUtilityPro.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
10 degrees cooler than yesterday. It makes a big difference. Today's high only 80, 77 tomorrow, 79 on Wednesday. A very slight chance of a pop-up thunder shower this afternoon. 78 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Repair or replace your roof now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. 12 months interest-free financing. The highest value roofing job in Utah. Dial pound 250 and then say S&S Roofing.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The Garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. thegardenslc.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Winning with 52% of the delegate votes, former lawmaker and candidate for governor Brian King elected to the chair of the Utah Democratic Party. Thanks for tuning into Midday with Maria Shilaos. King telling the Deseret News that he will work to unify the party and appeal to people on all sides of the political spectrum. Midday executive producer Andy Cupp joins me now with more. Andy?
Maria, the heart of the story is the direction Brian King wants to take the party. He says it's not an either-or situation, it's both, meaning he wants voters on the far left to be in the party, as well as independents, unaffiliated voters, and disillusioned Republicans. Holly Richardson, who's the editor of Utah Policy, and KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas, who are both incoming hosts here on KSL News Radio, they spoke about the convention this morning and how the party needs unity if they want to succeed in a red state like Utah.
I think one of the things that I thought was interesting from his comments was his goal is to unify the Democratic Party in Utah. And he said, and he did this while he was running as the governor, for governor, but he said he wants to take from the furthest left, most active on the left, but all the way through moderate Democrats, but also disaffected Republicans, and see if he can't build some kind of coalition to look for wins in 2026.
Yeah, don't you think that there's a tremendous opportunity in this state for Democrats right now? And maybe not...
No.
Aaron. That was Aaron. Just to clarify, that was Aaron.
I think there are a lot of disenfranchised people in Utah, not just nationally because of what's going on nationally, but what's going on with the state. I think a lot of people are feeling frustrated with the super majority of the state Congress, House of Representatives, let's face it, and the fact that they just control everything, and that it's taking the courts, both nationally and locally, to sort of reel in what's seemingly a drift further and further to the right. So I'm just thinking optimistically.
Greg and Holly there were speaking with Debbie Dujanovic and Aaron Ryder this morning. Holly says Democrats could have a better chance at winning seats if there were more candidates, especially when running in uncontested races against Republicans.
One of the things I think that happens with midterm elections, is we have a lower voter turnout typically, right, because it's not as flashy as a presidential election. But one of the other things, too, I think, is that we have people who don't have any opponents. Right, that the Democrats really, if they would launch an opponent for every single seat, right? I understand it's hard and people don't want to be a sacrificial lamb if there's no chance, right? But every once in a while, there are opportunities that come up where if they had somebody in place, they could have had a shot at taking that seat.
As you look at that, Holly and Greg, where are their best opportunities? Is it at the mayor level? Is it the city council level? Is it the school board level? Where are the best opportunities to start winning some seats?
So this year, it is a municipal election in 2025. In 2026, we'll see all of the 75 Utah House members, right, of the Utah legislature and half of the Senate will be up for election. So I would say Salt Lake County still flips back and forth. There are several seats that will go sometimes Republican, sometimes Democrat. Sometimes Weber County, there's a seat up there that has gone back and forth over the last several cycles. So looking at those races, I think bigger races, like to Greg's point, those are harder to win.
New party chair Brian King addressing the convention on Saturday, saying Democrats needed to be louder and stronger about the values they hold.
I believe Utah's ready for a Democratic Party that doesn't whisper our values, but that stands up for them loudly and proudly every single day. We stand for reproductive freedom. We fight for clean air and affordable homes. We care about our neighbors. We care about the Constitution. There's an idea. And we're going to make sure that Utahns know it. We've got too much talent and too many ideas to be losing to a party that thinks libraries are public enemy number one. But here's the catch. We can't just want it more than they do. We have to do more.
Now, Greg Skordas was there at the convention. It's important to note that he was a previous candidate as a Democrat for Attorney General for the state. But he said as he was there, he heard from a lot of the potential candidates at the convention who said that Democrats really needed to look at smaller races in order to make a bigger impact.
I heard a lot of some of the local county people talking about county commission races, talking about mayoral races, talking about things like that more than they have in the past. But because going to the big picture and thinking of national races probably isn't realistic. But you're right. You're 100% right. We need to fill all the slots for the local races, Holly,
Right.
at the next cycle. And even though it might feel like some of them are sacrificial lambs, it shows that Democrats are showing up.
Right. And municipal races are nonpartisan in the state.
I was gonna say
Right.
that.
But one of the things that people sometimes don't consider is they can be really good launching pads for additional seats, right? So you may have somebody who runs in a nonpartisan municipal race who leans left or is a Democrat, registered Democrat, and then later can leverage that and say, hey, I've served our city, I've served our community, now put me in the state house.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker was supposed to attend the convention, but like I reported on Friday, he wasn't able to make it due to budget discussions in his own state. He did, however, send a video message to the convention saying Democrats needed to, quote, show up. It's a very similar message to what Brian King shared.
We don't control Congress today, or the White House, or the Supreme Court. So let me be clear. We will lose if we fail to speak up, if we fail to protest, if we fail to show up. It's true that Democrats have become too captive to institutional norms and rules of engagement. And those rules only ever seem to apply to one side of the aisle. That's not on them. That's on us. Voters didn't turn out for Democrats last November, not because they don't want us to fight for our values, but because they think we don't want to fight for our values. Let's stop playing by those old institutional norms. Instead, it's time to fight. Everywhere and all the time.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Democrats, both here in Utah and nationally, kind of take their devastating loss in November and use it to boost themselves in the midterm. Maria, something that I've heard from a lot of politicos is that Democrats really need to focus their messaging on what real Americans want, something that's been discussed in a lot of scenes throughout the last several months. But, getting loud is one thing, but getting loud about the issues that matter to a majority of people is a whole other thing. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Utah Democrats try to kind of achieve that balance. And then also just newly elected chair of the Utah Democratic Party, Brian King, he will be on Dave and Dujanovic tomorrow about 10:30 in the morning to share some of his vision for the party going forward. So if listeners want to tune in about 10:30 to hear from Brian King. Maria?
Very good. Thanks, Andy. And just a reminder to our listeners that Holly Richardson, Greg Skordas will launch a new Inside Sources beginning Monday, June 9th at 9 a.m. right here on KSL News Radio. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
The Utah RV Palooza is ready for another round of RV savings. But this time, we're hooking you up, South Salt Lake County. June 5th through the 7th, we're bringing our packed inventory of new and used RVs to you on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. Shop all the best RV brands fit for any budget and all at show pricing. You'll find payments starting under $139 per month on approved credit on select new RVs and clearance pricing on all remaining new 2024s while they last. You'll also get 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Start shopping the best deals now at UtahRVPalooza.com. And it's the only show featuring the full lineup from Wayfinder RV, available exclusively through Bish's. Plus, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. All this plus free admission to the Utah RV Palooza, June 5th through the 7th on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. See you in Harriman.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 89922. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Deal number 822B426B.
Investigations from KSL reveal that a majority of Utah's law enforcement agencies have not complied with the new law requiring them to provide sexual assault data to the state. KSL investigator Daniela Rivera dug into the numbers.
Starting this year, law enforcement agencies across the state were required to submit data about their sexual assault cases by April 30th. But that deadline has come and gone, with only a fraction of agencies participating.
In Utah, we're in the top 10. We moved from number 9 to number 7 when it comes to sexual assault, and that's very alarming to me.
Representative Angela Romero sponsored what she hopes is part of the solution to Utah's sexual assault problem, a law aimed at collecting uniform data from each law enforcement agency, such as how many sexual assaults were reported to them and how many of those were referred for prosecution.
The data will kind of help provide that story and help us as policymakers as we move forward in addressing sexual assault prevention.
But that story right now is looking incomplete. How many law enforcement agencies so far have supplied the data?
Looks like we've got 25 agencies reporting on this data point.
Dan Strong is with the Utah Commission on Criminal and Juvenile Justice, which is tasked with collecting the data and producing a report on it for lawmakers and the public.
There's over 100 agencies in the state, so this is a fairly low reporting rate.
Both Strong and Romero say they understand it's a new requirement and the deadline might have snuck up on some agencies.
I'm happy those 25 agencies complied, and I look forward to seeing the other agencies comply.
We're hoping that by bringing some attention to this issue, we can see more agencies report. And if anyone has any questions about how to report or needs assistance, we're here to help.
The commission isn't saying at this point which agencies have or have not complied. Their report on the data to be shared with the public is due in August.
That was KSL investigator Daniela Rivera. How can you make sure that your kids don't fall into the summer slide while school's out? We got some tips in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
No freeway accidents, but we have had a little bit of busy traffic. Southbound I-15 going from Midvale to about 90th South and Sandy. And a report of a crash. I haven't seen it yet. 2100 South at 2100 East. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese, the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm Holly Richardson.
My name is Greg Skordas. Listen for the new Inside Sources.
One of the things that people don't realize about Utah politics, at the state legislative level, there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of working together for the good of Utah. Inside Sources, weekdays from 9 to noon.
This is a show that a person could listen and learn something every day and say, you know what, I didn't know that this morning at 9, but I know it now. Inside Sources.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start June 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Pantheon Clinical Research is conducting a clinical study for children and teens. Is your child struggling with bipolar depression? If your child is between 10 and 17 years old and experiencing symptoms of depression associated with bipolar disorder, such as persistent sadness, loss of interest in activities, trouble sleeping, low energy, difficulty concentrating, or even suicidal thoughts, Pantheon Clinical Research may be able to help. We are ready to take your call anytime. Call our phone lines at Pantheon Clinical Research at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. We're conducting a no-cost clinical study for children and teens facing bipolar depression. Participants will receive study-related care, medical tests, and investigational treatment from a dedicated medical team, all at no cost and with no health insurance required. Call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550, or visit our website at pantheonclinical.com to learn more. Hope starts here.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. School's out for summer. Well, for most kids. Some students along the Wasatch Front still have one more week of school. Good luck to you all. Summer is a great time for kids to take a break, but it often results in what is called the summer slide. It's what happens when kids take a few months off from educational activities, when children suffer from learning loss. AJ Woolsey is the Youth and Family Programming Coordinator at the Natural History Museum of Utah, and I spoke with her about ways to avoid the summer slide.
The summer is exciting, right? Like everyone looks forward to the summer, from like teachers to kids, right? And it's like the end of a school year, I'm going on to my next journey the next year, but summer tends to also be tragic for learning and education. So as far as summer is concerned, it's a time to get outside. It's a time to maybe just sleep in or stay inside. And you don't have to worry about the homework and the duties of like going to school every day. So like I said, it is exciting. However, from an educational standpoint, it's maybe not as exciting. And for those kids who also need structure and like guidance, it's maybe not a time for them to flourish as well.
Yeah, talk about how parents can find some balance, helping their kids preserve what they've learned and at the same time enjoying their summer.
Yeah, so I think the best way that kids can, or that, I'm sorry, the best way that parents can find balance of summer and education is to engage in activities that are all around the valley. And that can be from going to the farmer's market and that like place-based learning, play-based learning, getting kids out into the community and exploring different things. The mountains are very close, but it's also summer camp programs all over the valley. Salt Lake very much focuses on day camps and in cultural institutions specifically. So everywhere you look, there are summer camp options, and that is a fine medium between possibly like childcare if that's what parents need, but also schooling and also the fun parts of camp and building community.
So talk a little bit about play-based learning and how that makes a difference.
Yes, so we've seen that all kids will benefit from play-based learning. Another term is place-based learning, so PBL. You'll hear that, you can research it, and we've seen that if you allow kids to play and learn through that play, it will stick a little bit longer, or might dive a little bit deeper into that experience on their own. So that is, it's hands-on, it's making the mistakes and learning from the mistakes. A lot of it's engineering challenges, but it could just be that you're going on a nature walk and you're noticing the flowers that you normally wouldn't notice, or paying attention to the birds. Did you know that birds don't sing songs if there's danger? So it's also teaching our kids to go out in a moment of, escalation and to listen to a bird, because if they do that, our nervous system will actually calm down. So it's just allowing children and parents to go and play together. And we see that naturally in parks, right? So people will go to parks and play on the playground, but it's also an opportunity for the parents to engage in that versus just letting the kids do their own thing.
So when parents are doing their research and they're looking for summer camps, things for their kids to do, what's your best advice? I mean, how do they really determine the best space for their child?
I think the best place for a child is really interest, right? If a kid loves dinosaurs, obviously the Natural History Museum of Utah is going to be the place to go. Like that is something that we specialize in, or any of the natural sciences. But if kids want to go and ride horses for the first time, it might be a different camp, like Camp Costopolis up the canyon, right? So really like look into the interest, and you might type in science summer camps, or you might type in water-based summer camps or anything like that. And Google is our friend, right? The internet has opened up a wide variety of avenues for everybody. So do that, but also get in contact with like connections. If you have any questions of the Valley, my team would be happy to help guide you in the right direction for what summer camp would be best for you.
So describe for us what you have at the Natural History Museum for kids.
Yes, I love what we do here. So our summer camps actually open next week, and we offer a wide variety of all things natural sciences, but we also add in a lot of Legos in there as well, and other play-based type of activities. So we have kindergarten camps, first grade camps, second and third grade camps, fourth and fifth grade camps, and sixth through eighth grade camps. and it's for what grade the kids are going into in the fall. So again, every week has a different topic. So if your kid is a dino lover, you can sign them up for a dino camp. If they like space, there's space. If they like anthropology, there's that as well. We also have a very unique camp this year called Behind the Scenes, where kids are learning about how to make museums and what it takes to run a museum. So they'll learn from the custodian staff to our frontline staff to our curators in the back of collections and all the science researchers back there. I do want to put in a plug for our kindergarten camps because it is, again, it's the grade that the kids are going into in the fall. So we are building those life skills. We're teaching kids how to line up for the first time, perhaps, or going into a public restroom and how scary the automatic flushers can be. We are also teaching them how to use scissors and glue and just giving them an opportunity to build friendships in an authentic way so that they are ready in the fall to do that for the very first time in a classroom setting.
Describe how important it is for a parent to actually pick the right grades for their children to be in as well, and how that changes the learning experience, not to be placed in a big group with all ages.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question. So we very much believe in developmental milestones, and every single grade has a unique milestone developmentally, but also physically for kids. And coming from education in the formal education setting, like I make sure that the things that we are doing in these different grade levels are geared towards those kids to be successful, but not only be successful, but to push themselves to the right developmental boundary, right? So we aren't just doing things that are easy for the kids, but we're going to push them to use the scissors, even though their hands might not be ready for it, right? And it is very important because they're learning from kids their same age, and they're so they all are learning together. But also there might be some kids in that grade who did go to preschool or, had a Montessori experience before. So they are also able to learn from the kids within that small setting but they're also the kids of the same developmental age range. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we're about a week out, you said, before summer camp starts. Do you still have openings?
We still have openings. Our second and third grade, unfortunately, is sold out. However, check our website all the time. Our website is constantly being updated. So if a spot opens, it'll be announced on our landing page. And then at that point, you can go ahead and register. We have quite a few openings for those kindergarten camps. And then we also have a sprinkling of fourth and fifth grade and first grade as well. And we would love to see your kiddos this summer.
Anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to add?
Trust the process of summer camp. Summer camp has proven to be just a great developmental milestone for a lot of kids. And oftentimes we think of summer camp as that traditional, we're sleeping away in cabins, but that's not the case that we see right now, especially in Salt Lake Valley. So please, look them up, go to them. They're so great. They're enriching, and they're built for kids.
AJ Woolsey is a Youth and Family Programming Coordinator at the Natural History Museum of Utah. In national news, the 71st edition of the Fortune 500 list contains some newcomers at the bottom, but the top 5 have remained essentially unchanged. ABC's Jim Ryan says corporate America is undergoing a shift in the corner office.
Never before have so many Fortune 500 companies been led by women, 55 altogether. The list includes Mary Barra of General Motors, Jane Frazier of Citigroup, and Carol Tomei, the Chief Executive Officer at UPS.
Walmart topping the Fortune 500 list this year. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Utah ranking as the second best economy in the country. The U of U working to make textbooks more affordable. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
Slow down southbound I-15 Murray and Midvale due to a disabled vehicle. It had been blocking a center lane of traffic. It's now been moved over to the shoulder. Maria?
Thanks, Ricky. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Uncertainty over tariffs continues. President Trump vowing to hike tariffs on European steel and aluminum imports next week. Right now, it stands at 25%. ABC's Karen Travers says the president wants to boost steel production here in the U.S.
But there is so much analysis on this right now is saying that likely what companies will do is you can't shift that production so quickly. You will continue to import foreign steel and take that higher cost right now with the 50% tariff, and that will likely get passed on to consumers. You could see this at the grocery store too with cans, not just the big ticket items like cars and appliances.
The suspect in the Boulder flamethrower attack, police say targeted a Jewish group at a rally for Hamas-held hostages, is due in court later today. He's facing both state and federal charges, including attempted murder and a federal hate crime count. Stormy and smoky skies over the Midwest and Upper Plains today. Wildfire smoke from Canada drifting into the U.S. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Salt Lake City police are investigating after a motorcyclist was hit and killed in a hit-and-run crash overnight. Happened around 2100 South and 4th East. Police say the suspect ran a stop sign and hit the motorcycle before driving off. This story is developing. We will provide more details as we get them. One of the most congested areas of the Wasatch Front is about to get more so because of lane closures coming to Mountain View Corridor in Saratoga Springs. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
For the next 30 days, the right lane on Mountain View Corridor, as it curves into 2100 North and approaches Redwood Road, will be closed daily from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. UDOT spokesman for Region 3, Wyatt Woolley, says the closure is to install walls for several new pedestrian bridges over 2100 North and Mountain View.
Full project is expected to be completed in 2026. Another possible fire from a lithium-ion battery. This morning, fire crews think it came from a scooter battery at a Salt Lake City apartment complex at 17th East and 1700 South. Captain Chad Jefferson says when crews arrived, there was heavy smoke and flames coming from the basement.
Crews were able to make a quick knockdown on that fire. They had easy access via window and were able to knock the fire down fairly rapidly and save the majority of the structure and the contents inside of the building.
Jefferson says they are still investigating, but urges people with lithium batteries in their electronics to make sure that they are good quality. Other local stories KSL is following. There have now been over 1,000 measles cases nationwide across 33 states. Salt Lake County Health Department spokesman Nicholas Dunn says that means it's only a matter of time before Utah has its first case. He says 9 out of 10 people who are exposed haven't been vaccinated and they will get sick, but you don't have to take those odds.
The MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, is extremely safe and very effective. In fact, if you are up to date, you are considered 97% protected.
People who had measles as a child are also considered to be protected, but because of the potential for spreading the virus through summer travel, if you have travel plans, he recommends making sure you check your status before you go. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow ending the day up 35 points to sit at 42,305. S&P is up by 24 points. The NASDAQ up by 128 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
We had a stalled vehicle in traffic southbound I-15 prior to 90th South. It's now over to the shoulder, but residual delays into Murray. Also, a crash for Weber County drivers. This is at Riverdale Road and Wall Avenue, also getting moved out of traffic. All tickets are on sale now, so claim your spot and start planning your perfect Park City night. Details at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Just a few clouds, very slight chance of an afternoon thunder shower today with a high of 80. Tomorrow a bit cooler with 77 and 79 on Wednesday. Right now 79 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer.
Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited-time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m., subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Utah's economy remains strong. In fact, it's taking the spot for the second strongest state in the nation for its economy. That's according to a new report from Wallet Hub. Author Chip Lupo explains to KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff how they came to that conclusion.
We analyzed all 50 states and Washington, D.C. across 3 key dimensions. That's economic activity, economic health, and innovation potential. And then we applied 28 indicators, metrics more or less, to measure economic performance and strength. And those range from everything from GDP growth, startup activity, share of jobs in high-tech industry. And it's more or less to pinpoint that as a country, we're in sort of an economic malaise, for lack of a better word. So there's no certainty at the moment, but some states and some regions actually do better than others. So that was the point of our study here, to give an idea of which states are doing well, which states are not doing well, and what are some areas in which some states that are kind of in the middle can either do to improve or fall in the ranking.
And we are just learning that there's a news conference coming out of Colorado on that terror attack over the weekend. Let's listen in. This is the acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Colorado.
No one should ever be subjected to violence of any kind. But our laws recognize that such violence is particularly pernicious when someone is targeted because of their race, their religion, or their national origin. According to our complaint and the charges brought by DA Doherty's office, Mr. Solomon stated that he had been planning this attack for a year. And he acted because he hated what he called the Zionist group. But what the charges allege that he did was to throw Molotov cocktails at a group of men and women, some of them in their late 80s, burning them as they peacefully walked on a Sunday to draw attention to Israeli hostages held in Gaza. And when he was interviewed about the attack, he said he wanted them all to die. He had no regrets, and he would go back and do it again. He said that he had previously tried to purchase a firearm, but resorted to the Molotov cocktails when he could not purchase a gun because he was not a legal citizen. I remind you that Mr. Solomon is presumed innocent until proven guilty. My office and our partners hope justice will help heal the people in this community and in the communities throughout the country shaken by yesterday's attack. We fully intend to hold Mr. Solomon accountable for his actions, and these charges are the first step. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to DA Michael Doherty.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Doherty. I'm the District Attorney for Boulder County. I appreciate the members of the media who are here today so we can help provide this update to a grieving and traumatized community. What you see here today is us standing shoulder to shoulder, ensuring that justice is done in response to this tragic and terrible attack. We stand united in denouncing hate, terror, and violence in this community. We're united in condemning acts of anti-Semitism, hate, and violence, and we're also united in a strong response to this horrific attack. I stand with this community and the people of the state of Colorado against hate and terror. And we are united in our commitment, both at the federal level and the state level, in pursuing and securing justice for the victims of this mass attack and for the communities that we serve. Boulder is a beautiful and special place, but we're not immune from mass violence or hate crimes, including violent acts of anti-Semitism that impact far too many communities across this country. And yesterday afternoon, on a beautiful day here in Colorado, a number of people participated in a peaceful walk and gathering on Pearl Street here in Boulder. It is a place where a lot of people gather every day. And the ones who join in this peaceful gathering are now the victims of a senseless, unjustified, and horrific mass attack. And to all the victims, their loved ones, and to this community, I promise you that each one of us up here today will work tirelessly to ensure that justice is done and the defendant is held fully accountable. I want to recognize, as the U.S. Attorney did, the response by community members who helped in the minutes immediately following the attack and came to render aid to victims who had suffered through a horrific attack upon them. Also, I want to recognize the courage and the rapid response by the Boulder Police Department, who once again were called to respond to a truly horrific attack upon innocent members of our community and responded without a second of delay. I will highlight for you that there were 16 unused Molotov cocktails that were recovered by law enforcement in the hours after the incident took place. 16. So I really want to thank the Boulder Police Department and their law enforcement responders, as well as the first responders who provided medical aid to the victims. But that rapid response with the recovery of the 16 unused Molotov cocktails, I think speaks for itself. Our office and the U.S. Attorney's Office will be working closely together and in coordination with one another to ensure that the defendant is held fully accountable. As you heard from the U.S. Attorney, the U.S. Attorney's Office will be prosecuting the hate crime against the defendant. Our office will be prosecuting the attempted murder charges and related charges at the state level. This approach will accurately reflect the actions the defendant is alleged to have taken and the harms that he caused. It will allow us to secure a verdict, an outcome, a sentence, whereby he'll be held fully accountable. It's been done, and by it I mean federal and state prosecutions jointly, has been done in other cases, most recently the Club Q mass shooting down in Colorado Springs. At the time the arrest affidavit and warrant were filed with the state court yesterday, there were 8 victims identified, and I'll touch briefly now on the charges that were filed at the state level, as well as the possible sentences he faces if convicted on those charges. So there were 16 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. 8 of those counts are for attempted murder with intent and after deliberation. The other 8 counts are attempted murder with extreme indifference. So 16 counts total. If the defendant's convicted and those counts are running consecutive to one another, he would face a maximum of 384 years in state prison. He's also charged with 2 counts of use of an incendiary device If convicted of those charges and they run consecutive, he would face a maximum sentence of 48 years. He's also charged with 16 other counts of attempted use of an incendiary device. And again, if convicted and if they run consecutive, the maximum on those counts would be 192 years. So 384 years on the attempted murder, 48 on the use of the Molotov cocktails, and then the attempted use would be 192 years. The judge set a $10 million cash-only bond on the state charges. As you are aware, he's going to be going before the judge this afternoon at the jail. I believe that is scheduled for 3:30, but I rely on the sheriff's office to communicate with members of the media of the exact time. Thanks to the investigation by federal, state, and local partners, and I just want to highlight for you, this is a horrific attack. But as district attorney, when I walk into this building and I see the FBI, Boulder PD, and all the law enforcement partners working, it's the exact response I hope to see. The teamwork they demonstrate, the work they put into it. If you were downstairs right now, you'd see incredible law enforcement officers and investigators working calmly, professionally, and tirelessly to ensure we get all the information we need to get the right outcome in the criminal cases that the U.S. Attorney's Office and my office will prosecute. Through their work, we've now identified 4 additional victims, so there's now a total of 12 victims. And as you'll hear from the FBI special agent in charge, we're going to continue to encourage victims and witnesses to come forward and contact law enforcement. But we now have 12 victims, and on the later this week, we'll be filing formal charges against him. That's our normal process. So the filing of formal charges by the district attorney's office will reflect 12 victims, and if more come forward, additional victims as well. On my final note, what I want to stress is this community has experienced too many tragedies: fires, floods, and mass attacks. But each time I've seen this great community respond with strength, resilience, and support for one another. I trust and hope that that will happen again now. That for the many members of the community who've come forward before to help one another, to support one another, to comfort one another, that will happen again today and in the weeks, months going forward. That once again our community will rally to restore peace and to bring support and comfort one another during this dark hour. As your district attorney, I want to remind the members of the media and the community that the defendant's innocent unless and until proven guilty, and the charges are merely allegations. I'm going to turn it over to the special agent in charge of the FBI, and then we're happy to take questions after each one of us is done. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark McCulloch, Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Denver field office, and want to provide a quick investigative update. The FBI has been here on the scene in Boulder for the past 24 hours, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with the Boulder Police Department and our partners. Their heroic and swift actions clearly saved lives. As mentioned, there were 16 unused Molotov cocktails within arm's reach of the subject at the time of his arrest. So there is no question that the first responders saved lives and prevented further victims from being injured. And I think the fact that we have both federal and state charges within 24 hours of this attack is a testament to the strength of the partnerships, the professionalism of the investigators, and our commitment to the community and to each other to pursue justice. We continue to support the victims, their families, and the greater community with personnel and resources. Our hearts go out to the victims, and we want you to know that we are committed to being here for you. Since 2 o'clock yesterday, more than 30 special agents, intelligence experts, and professional staff have deployed to provide forensic, investigative, and crisis management support, as well as additional resources are being surged from other field offices and at our headquarters in Washington, D.C., and they're on the way. While at this time it appears the perpetrator acted alone, we do continue to investigate all possibilities and pursue all investigative leads. If we uncover evidence that others knew of this attack or supported the subject in this attack, rest assured that we will aggressively move to hold them accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Since the investigation began 24 hours ago, the FBI has conducted 44 witness interviews. We've executed search warrants on vehicles, property, and digital devices. We've deployed our full evidence response team both to Boulder at the main crime scene and in the execution of a search warrant at a residence tied to the subject in Colorado Springs. Members of the ERT worked through the night to gather all evidence so that the Pearl Street could swiftly be reopened this morning. We've deployed victim specialists to hospitals and assigned one to each and every victim that's been identified to date. We've set up a digital media tip line. We've deployed a mobile command post for information sharing and evidence control.
You're listening to the special agent in charge of the FBI describe the extraordinary response there in Boulder, Colorado on both the state and federal level. You heard moments ago Mohammed Solomon, 45 years old, now facing federal charges and charges on the state level. The federal charges, a hate crime that includes attempted murder, as well as 16 counts of attempted murder on the state level. He faces life in prison if convicted. In addition, we learned late today that there were 12 victims, that number now up to 12. I want to show you video that authorities are
And you are listening to coverage by ABC of this news conference out of Boulder, Colorado, where they have now identified 12 victims, as you heard, in that attack, and they have charged the suspect with 16 counts of attempted murder. We'll continue to bring you the very latest. But let's get you up to date on the drive. Traffic is brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
That southbound drive on I-15 has already filled in and slowed down between 53rd and about 90th South, where right before that, we had a crash over to the right shoulder that has just cleared. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available, so save now and pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Imagine waking up every morning with a smile you're proud of. No more hiding, no more pain. Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's Best of State winner for 3 years in a row, has helped thousands of people ditch the dentures and say goodbye to missing or broken teeth. Their expert team specializes in giving you a permanent, natural-looking smile with dental implants that feel and function just like real teeth. With over 2,000 five-star Google reviews, their patients say it best.
Dental implants gave me my life back. I feel confident again. I feel like I can be myself.
There was no way I was getting dentures. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been the best decision of my life.
Let the expert team at Stubbs Dental help you take the first step to changing your life with dental implants. Schedule your complimentary consultation today, a $350 value, absolutely free. Visit StubbsDental.com today. That's StubbsDental.com. StubbsDental.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Looking for reliable home services you can actually count on? I've got just the team for you. Mountain Home Services. They've been serving Utah since 1954 with honest, upfront pricing and zero hidden fees. Plus, they back every job with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. With summer heating up, now's the time to get your AC in shape. Mountain Home Services delivers fast, expert air conditioning service to keep your home cool and comfortable. And don't forget, they also handle electrical and plumbing work with the same trusted care. And here's the best part. KSL listeners get exclusive limited-time specials, but you have to call and ask. These deals won't last, so don't miss your chance to save. Call 801-543-2222 today and tell them KSL sent you. That's 801-543-2222 or visit mountainhomeservices.com. Get the service you need and the deal you deserve.
Thank you for joining me here on Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. University of Utah is rolling out a new textbook program in the fall that would cut the average cost of textbooks in half. The new Day One Book Access program will allow students to have access to all their class materials as soon as the semester starts. Campus Store Marketing Manager Bridget Miller explains the benefits to KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez.
The whole goal of this program is to make getting textbooks for students, one, more affordable, and one, way quicker and more accessible, so they can start the semester off with everything they need to be successful. A lot of the time students find frustration with having to price shop for textbooks, and then they're kind of a week behind as the semester's starting. So the whole premise of this program is that you pay $259 for the semester for all of your textbooks, and you get everything by the first day of class. So you just have a head start right off the gate, which there's been a lot of studies showing that that has increased student retention rates. A lot of students have even gone up a full letter grade in their course, which is amazing to have the students see that kind of success, and the stress of the cost of textbooks just not even a factor anymore.
Campus Store Associate Director Shane Gerton says accessibility makes life easier for both faculty and students.
Basically, students access all of their content digitally through the Canvas learning management system here at the U. There's one tab called the Bookshelf tab, and that's where they'll access all of their digital books, their library reserve content, their open education resource content, or find the print books that they need for the class. They'll come to the bookstore, and we will hand them their books, their print books that they need for the class. But how it really helps faculty is faculty know that on the first day of class, every student in that class has the same content to start the class. So no student is behind a week or two while they're trying to wait for their book to show up from an online resource or to get to the campus store to get their book. Everything is available to each student in that class on the first day. So there's some confidence there for faculty that all students are starting on the same level playing field on the first day of class.
And for many students, the savings can be significant.
So on average, according to collegeboard.org, students were paying about $600 a semester on average nationally for their course materials. So this program cuts that in more than in half. And it's a predictable cost that every student knows what they're going to pay when they come to class. So it's not this variable expense that they weren't prepared for when they get to school.
And student Danny Rosas Salas says the new program will help keep him on track during the semester because he won't need to order his books online and wait for them to come in the mail.
With my personal experience, there are some semesters, that I have to take like 5 courses, right? And that can spend a lot if like each textbook costs like $80, right? And so, yeah, I think this new program will definitely help like save me a lot of money for sure, because I can save, apart from like 5 courses and each being like $80 a textbook, right? I think, I'd save, a lot of money, and also I guess time as well, trying to like look for like the cheaper alternatives, through maybe like a used textbook on eBay or a new textbook on Amazon. So I think, yeah, this program will definitely help me a lot.
Program also has different tiers that students can use depending on their course load during the semester. Don't forget about the KSL Give-a-thon. We are raising money to help the children and families of those receiving treatment at Primary Children's Hospital. You can donate now by visiting KSLkids.com or by texting the word SMILE to 57500. And a special thanks to J&J Garden Center for being our Smile Maker sponsor. You too can be a Smile Maker. All you have to do is to commit a small donation of $15 or more a month. And Jeff, looking forward to the Give-a-thon. It's coming up on Wednesday.
Wednesday, just 2 more days.
Yeah. Love helping the kids, love seeing the kids and their parents and the great work that they do.
It's a completely different vibe here.
No doubt about it.
It's like a vacation day almost, and you get to do good.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Thanks for joining me for Midday. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.